We'll do it live. We'll do it live. F it. F it. We'll do it live. Checking my sound.
Yes.
And we're live. We are live, Little Joan. We are live, Little Joan, for the pre-game time before the stream. Ardent is already here. LOL, damn it, I forgot the pizza rolls. Ardent's all by his lonesome on a Sunday. So you know what that means. Porn and video games. And pizza rolls. JC, do it live! JC is also here early. Everybody's early today. I like it. Ryan Citro here. Hello, Tony. Hello, Ryan. Hello. Hello to all in the live stream. I will tell you for the pregame about my weekend in Lehigh Valley. Ardent. LOL. Stormy's on the phone right now. Hello, Stormy. Stormy says, hey, Tony. Oh, and Stormy is also watching me live. Fantastic. Ardent is going to church and doing wholesome things. So I went up to Lehigh Valley on Saturday for this show, comic book convention at the LCCC, Lehigh Community College. What's the other C? Lehigh County Community College. And very nice people. They gave us lunch. A lot of places don't give you lunch, but they gave us like a thing that the food prep people. There was like a food truck, and they gave us free lunch, so that was nice. Ryan asks, "How are you doing today, Tony?" I'm doing pretty good. Had early Italian dinner with the family, so that was nice. Ardent, wholesome, yes. Church, good gods, no. So they were very nice at the LCCC, and had a table out in the hall. A hall table. It's a mixed bag. Like at Dragon Con, depending on the hall, it's actually better. For this hall, I'm not sure if it was the best spot. It was kind of hard to gauge the room because it was the first time doing the show. Ryan, do you want to join your team? Do you want to join my team? I don't know what your team is. What is your team? Is it a bobsled team? I'm pretty heavy. I could be up front, but you guys are hot to push. Ardent, hey, guess what I inflicted on myself last night? I did a review of Terminator Dark Fate. The pain, it burns. It comes out tomorrow. It does? Dark Fate comes out tomorrow. Wait a minute, I thought that was an old movie. Isn't that the one with, what's her face? Ryan Citro. Team Citro. What, do I have to do anything for Team Citro other than say I'm in it? And what does that mean? I have to ask because it's the internet, and you could be crazy. You might have murdered Ryan and taken his place, for all I know. Ardent, my review does. So it's the most recent Terminator, like old Arnold Schwarzenegger and what the hell's her name? I can't even think of her name. Linda, what's her face? Was married to Cameron for a while. Has a twin, by the way. What the hell, Joan? You are just off. I'm not letting you down because you have been barking at everything. At everything, damn it. Now let me get through the pregame. Just shut up. Here. Give you something to gum. Ardent, I review old stuff in general because I'm poor. I don't blame it. It's a good strategy. Ryan Citro, yeah, you will have to be a lead. Lead of what? Ardent, very old, bitter Linda Hamilton. That's what I thought her name was, but it didn't sound right in my head. Here, Joan, here's 3 treats. They're the hard ones, so you'll have to gum them a while. But maybe it'll keep you occupied and silent for a few minutes. Okay? All right, just gum them, and eventually they'll get nice and soft. I very old and bitter Linda Hamilton. Yes, I'll have to be a lead. What? I don't even know what I'm doing. Aurelius Mosh, Linda Hamilton. Thank you. Ryan Citro, leader of a team. What team? What will I be doing? Will I be robbing a bank? What if I want me to join a team? I need some deets. So Lehigh Valley is about a 90-minute drive for me. Ardent. Sweet old toothless Joan. Yeah, ain't that the truth. Oh good. Look at her go. So 90-minute drive, and it rained on the way up, which leader of Team Citro, to do what? Tell me what I'm doing. I'm not agreeing to it till I know what I'm signing on to, Ryan. I read the contracts. So I've been on a streak since last year. Every time I go to a show, it'll stop raining just as I'm loading up the car. This time, I was worried that because the forecast called for rain like all night and all morning. So I loaded up the car the night before. Got up, no rain, until I got in the car and started driving. Instantly started raining. Drove 90 minutes through the rain, fairly blinding rain at some points, to Lehigh Valley. Now, it's western Pennsylvania. It's a nice area. Ryan Citro, okay, I will read a contract. All right, just, send me that contract and I'll look it over. Ardent Team Citro sounds too close to Project Mayhem and Operation Scorpio. Yeah, I don't want to be signed up for another J6 event, if you know what I mean. You could glow in the dark, Ryan. I don't know. Are you wearing khaki pants right now and sunglasses and have short cropped hair? JEC, that would be a good screenplay. Stranger in streamers chat, ask him to join a team and rob a bank. That's not bad. It's not bad. Or he thinks like Ryan thinks I'm an actual criminal, and I agree to do it as a joke, and then I show up as a joke to see, who the heck hired me, and then it turns into a bank robbery, and like they put the gun to my head, and I have to drive the escape car. Ryan Citro, I am wearing blue pants. Okay, so maybe you don't glow in the dark. Ardent, LOL, khaki shorts and high and tight with shades. Not sus at all. So I get up to Lehigh, and very nice people. Lots of college kids in costume. Ryan Citro, you are not a criminal. Okay. As long as I'm not a criminal, it's not too weird. I tentatively, until I know what it is, I tentatively agree to join Team Citro and help you in the most minimal way I possibly can, so I don't really have to do anything. JEC, you could do it as a comedy or as a thriller. I think it would work best as a comedy. I don't think it's realistic enough to do as a thriller. Aurelius Mosh. There was this villain in a Spider-Man video game that was a lady social media influencer. She basically used her followers as henchmen and tools for crimes. That's pretty good new villain. Joan, your breath stinks, and you're loud, and you're stupid. So sit here, okay? You happy? Joan's never happy. Yeah. All right, go to sleep. So, very nice people, lots of college kids, lots of cosplayers, and there was some discussion. There were some creators there that I hung out with. Some discussion of how cosplay ruined comic books, specifically comic book conventions, which I think is kind of true, because what happened is once cosplay became a big thing, everybody who shows up in cosplay, almost everybody, never buys anything. And part of it is they're in costume. They don't have pockets a lot of times. And they're dragging the attention away from guys like me who are there to promote and do stuff. Now, I don't have a thing against cosplayers per se, but I think if you're going to go cosplaying and you've made a costume, that's great. I think if you go cosplaying and you bought a costume, I think that's kind of lame, you know? Aurelius. The character was childish and cringy, but her concept and MO had potential. Yeah, I think so. I think it has a lot of potential because they've done that. I mean, they've done that in Philly with flash mobs. They've committed crimes. It's not very organized. It's more of like a mob shows up and then a fight breaks out. But still, you could see the potential. Joan, I swear to God, I'm going to put you on the ground. And if you F up this stream, I'm going to put you on the bed. Oh, that's how Joan's in trouble. Yeah, Joan will get a timeout on the bed if you mess this up. All right? So I'm going to put you down. Don't start barking at everything like you've been doing. Okay? No bark. Listen to me. No bark. Okay? All right. Go ahead. Oh, Max Landis once did a Joker pitch where Joker was a weird performance artist, art school dropout with 250 followers on Instagram, but every one of the 250 followers are brainwashed into being his minions. That's not bad. I don't know. Doing it with the Joker isn't, to me, it's like, that feels like a, we're going to update, or we're going to do something for the kids. I think it has to be a new character. At JEC. So that's that terrible Punchline character. Oh yeah, that's right. There's a new character called Punchline. It's like the Joker's other girlfriend. I think it's like Harley 2.0. I think that's what they were going for. They said, "Oh, these comic fans love Harley. Let's do another Harley, Punchline." And I think there was a Punchline henchman way back in the day, like in the 60s Batman, but he was just like, it was just like he'd rattle off a bunch of names, and one of them was Punchline as one of the henchmen. JC, yeah, would work better as a new character. I think so. I think that's just what DC needs. I mean, they need a lot new characters. They need to set aside the old Rogues Gallery for like 2 years and flush it out with new characters, just so people could take a breather from them and forget about them for a little while, and then just bring them all back later. JC, they made Harley gay, so Joker needed a new girlfriend. Yeah, that was dumb. Harley is not gay. That was her whole entire character. Joan. Her whole entire character is she was one of those women who falls in love with a guy who is terrible. Oh, Joan, I knew this would happen. I knew this would happen. Hopefully she'll take a nap. So cranky today. And that was the best part of her character, because it gives her this flaw. It gives her this fatal flaw, like when the Joker, she could do all these things, crazy criminal girl, but when the Joker calls, she's like, "Oh, Mr. J." So that dynamic is pretty much dead now, because everybody at DC, just like everybody else in comics, is obsessed with gender identity. Ardent, flush it out. The dialysis. Am I going to have to go out there? I might have to go out there. I can't let her bark like this. All right. I'm going to have to put her in a timeout. Joan. Joan needs a timeout, everybody. No, yeah, you think you're getting back in the stream? You got a timeout coming to you. It's like having a kid. Yeah, she's in the timeout. She can't jump off my bed because it's too high for her. She's a little dog. So when we go to sleep, I put her in her little round bed you've seen, set her on the bed, and she sleeps next to me so I don't roll over and crush her. And too late. I'm back. Ardent, quick, everybody talk S. He'll never know. So this is Joan's timeout. Hopefully she'll take a nap. I don't know. I took her for walkies. She should have been tired, but she's not. It's springtime. Animals, they go crazy. That's funny. Ardent redacted all his messages. So yeah. So Harley, dumb move on DC's part. They've ruined yet another character in comics. Just in a different way. And we were saying at the show, the cosplayers had ruined the show. Not like them specifically, but just cosplaying in general has gotten so out of hand. It's taken the focus off the comics, just like everything else at cons. And you got people just, cosplay used to be interesting. Back in the day, you would go to a show. This is maybe 10 years ago. You'd go to a show, and there'd be 4 or 5 guys who made costume. And it would be cool because they made the costume. Stormy, yeah, Tony, I have 3 dogs and 4 kids. Never a dull moment. Ardent, don't forget the 2 cats and a wild Newfoundland boyfriend. Holy cow. Your house must be rocking nonstop. So, like, I don't mind them, but the cosplayers, 4 or 5 guys who, like, they wanted to cosplay. And, like, if you're going to do, say, like, Spider-Man, you should be in shape, right? You should look good. You should have a good physique because it's just basically a bodysuit. That's all it is. Even if you're Batman, you should be at least... I mean, I got a bit of a gut, but I could probably pull off, like, armored Batman because the armor would hide my gut, and I don't have that much of a gut, but... any fatter than me, you probably shouldn't be cosplaying unless you're cosplaying a fat guy. So the problem with cosplay now, since everybody does it, you have people who, some of them are morbidly obese, and they're cosplaying characters that are not morbidly obese, right? If you're going to cosplay Chris Hemsworth Thor, which somebody did at the show, and he looked good. He wasn't morbidly obese. But then there was, I think it was some kind of Spider-Man, not Spider-Man, but like one of the Divergent characters, whatever you call them, the Spider-Verse characters. And the person in that outfit was far too heavy to be wearing tights. I mean, huge rolls of fat. I don't know how they got the suit on, quite frankly. Ardent, I'd try Schumacher Bane because I'm a chunky bugger. Yeah, like you wear something according to your body type. Stormy, I have my hands full with wild boyfriend and kids and animals and kids. Perfect. LOL. So yeah, like, back in the day, Ardent, Miles Morbidalis? No more Miles Morales at the show. I used to see him back in the day. There was a guy there who dressed up as Superboy, but he was a dead ringer for Ezra Miller. And I said to him he should have dressed up as Ezra Miller. Not as the Flash, but Ezra Miller. But he just laughed and said, "Oh no, I don't want to do that." And then I think he thought about getting a haircut because he was a dead ringer for Ezra Miller. I mean, like Ezra Miller in real life, not Ezra Miller Flash. Like, he had hair that was like about down to here, and he had the Superboy sunglasses on. But with that hair and glasses combo, he looked more like Ezra Miller, I thought. But like that guy was in shape, and then there was a Superman. He was in shape. But if you're not in shape, you got to wear something that's like Ardent. That sounds dangerous. So, like, heavier women would wear milkmaid costumes back in the day, like, like St. Pauli girl type bar wench costumes, and that would be fine because those costumes would kind of fit their body type, right? Or if you're short and stocky, you might go as a dwarf or something like that. Ardent, oh, the 90s Superboy, I love that character. Yeah, he looked good. He had a good costume. And that's a thing. I knew it wasn't store-bought because, it's 90s Superboy. You know. And again, and even the store-bought costumes, if you're in shape and really look like the character, you can overlook that. But just like your casual fan putting on a bodysuit that doesn't fit them and sort of half-assing it at the con, that's what's really diluted cosplay. There's just too much of it. And people still take their damn picture all day long. Ardent, I don't know what you're saying. Dindles? Dindles? What are dindles, right, Stormy? I don't know. Anyhow, and not that they're bad people or anything, but it's just like all the focus goes to them. I had someone at a table nearby stopping every cosplayer taking a picture. At one point, they got in front of my table, and it's so annoying when that happens because I'm there to work. I'm there to sell books, talk about my stuff. I'm not there to take pictures of cosplayers. And look, some of them look amazing. But, like, I've been to Dragon Con, and that was the original cosplay con, and that had a costume contest like none other. You can't show up to Dragon Con with a store-bought costume. Oh, they'll laugh you right out of there. They have amazing homemade costumes at Dragon Con. Some people work all year on them. And those, yeah, okay. You're a fan. You worked on the costume all year. Respect. Even if the costume doesn't look that great. But, Ardent, Durindal, pronounced Durnal, the milkmaid dress. Oh, okay, yeah. So, and there's a few other costumes, right? Like, back in the day, Valiant Comics had these two characters, Archer and Armstrong. And Archer was a little monk guy, but Armstrong was a big fat guy. I mean, that would be, you can go as Fat Thor. There are fat costumes appropriate to your body type and people will like them. But when you go as Spider-Man and you're packing a kegger instead of a six-pack, that doesn't look good. When you're fat Batman or fat Boba Fett and they start calling you Boba Fett and you have the nerve to be offended, like, you can't really be offended at that, I think. So, and of course, there was one of the fans, I felt bad for her. She was so heavy. She was huffing and puffing just walking down the hall. Just too heavy. Like, very heavy. And that's just not healthy. It's just not healthy. I don't have anything against people. I had relatives who were morbidly obese, and they all died early. So, this idea that, oh, we gotta have fat acceptance. Yeah, if you're 20 and you're super overweight, you may not feel it then, but your body is taking damage. It's just you don't feel it because you're 20 and you're bouncing back again and again and again. But when you're 30, 40, that's like heart attack area. 50, you're done, You're going to be in the hospital with all sorts of medical problems. Ardent, LOL, get 4 chunky buddies and go as the Fantastic Four. Yeah. Or you can go as the Fat Boys, if you remember those guys. Or considered maybe not wearing a costume, Just maybe consider that if it doesn't look good, Maybe you shouldn't do a costume. There was all sorts of people wearing pronoun stickers, too, which I found very amusing. It's like, I get it. College students are insanely woke, but, like, can you not keep it to yourself? Like, I don't care about your pronouns. I'm not there to do pronoun checks with you. I'm just there to sell my books. So, I don't know. You want to wear that tag or whatever? Fine, whatever. God forbid you slip up in front of them. I can only imagine what happens, but Usually I'm just talking about the Jersey Devil nonstop, so it's not really an issue for me. But and again, they're all very nice, but I feel bad for them. They're all sucked into this trend that, oh, we got a virtue signal about our pronouns, and I'm gonna wear a badge and look at me, everybody. It's like, I got there and man, my teeth were floating. I had to run right to the restroom, and I'm looking for the restroom. I see the women's room, and then I see this other room. It's got like every gender in like iconography, icons. And I'm like, I use that one. And then somebody came out, and I rushed right in and used it. And then I came out, and I realized, oh, that was the multiple gender bathroom. And then there was a men's room, like 20 feet away. I didn't see, but I didn't care. It's like it was a single bathroom anyway, and that's what they should just do. They should turn them all into single bathrooms, and then anybody could use them. They're single bathrooms. It's not a party. You're using the bathroom, and then problem solved. Problem solved. But other than that, it was fine. It was a nice day, and then it was bright and sunny. About halfway through the day, the sun came out. The fans that were there were there. It's like it wasn't really a weather-dependent con, and I did my panel, and that went okay. I used visuals for the first time on like a PowerPoint thing, so that kicked it up another notch. I got to get used to that. It kind of threw my timing off a little. Ardent, if they have those signs for the multi-genders, I use whatever one is the closest and identify as needed if challenged. Yeah. And then me and my buddies went to the diner afterwards, and this is Western Pennsylvania, so the diner was actually normally priced, which was nice. The new Shanksville Diner, delicious, and we hung out there and talked about the show, and talked about the fans a little bit. We like to do that after a show, and then afterwards, and it's bright and sunny the entire time, and then afterwards, the moment I get in the car, it just starts storming like crazy, and the whole ride is like storming, and then bright sun. Oh, the sun came out. Okay, I guess that's over. Then it starts raining, then storm. This goes back and forth for like 90 minutes until I got home. And then I had to leave all my stuff in the car overnight because it was raining so hard, I dare not take it out of the damn car because all the rain. It's books. You can't get them all wet. Anyhow, and I did okay at the show. I mean, it's fine. I wanted to sell more, but I didn't like my table placement, but I'm not blaming anybody for that. They just put you at a table, whatever. But I don't know. I don't know what the best table even would have been at that show. Yeah. I mean, it was a good table, I guess. I really needed to be in the dealer's room. That's where all the money was. I didn't even get to go walk around, really. I was too busy trying to sell, and then they gave us lunch, but I had to wait in line to get it, and that kind of ate up some of my time. And I was like, I'm standing in line. I can't get out of line. I'm so hungry. But anyhow, Jesus, it's almost 7:30. I haven't even started this thing. Let's get into it. Let's get into the numbers. I found the site again. The number is the-numbers.com. So I guess I was typing it in wrong, but I think they may have changed it. I don't know. But anyhow, we're back on the numbers. The site I really like. I think it gives you better information than Box Office Mojo. And the big surprise is Dungeons and Dragons knocks John Wick off the top. And John Wick dropped 62%. Kind of a big drop, considering how well the movie did. So let's look at Dungeons and Dragons. Did it open worldwide? It did. So it's 71 million worldwide. That's not bad. Surprisingly good for this movie, I think. But I don't know. I don't have that much interest in it ever since the I guess it was the producers came out and said, "Oh, we like emasculating the male characters," and I'm like, "Oh, I like not wasting my money." So I guess I'll wait till this shows up on Netflix or something one day. Maybe then I'll watch it. John Wick drops to number 2, did 28 million, doing 244 million worldwide. Not bad. Um, they say this is the biggest opening for the John Wick movies at all four of them. That's surprising. I mean, I kind of understand what one, because I guess nobody knew what the hell it was, but you'd think by two or three it would have kicked up, but no, this is the biggest one. Now they're talking doing a 5. I can't believe that. JC, they were tracking it to do 30 million. Oh, Dungeons and Dragons, yeah. Well, that exceeded their expectations, so I guess they were happy about that. So 3,855 theaters. Then something that sounds religious. His Only Son premiered. Yep, that is definitely a religious movie. 5.5 million. That's the number 3 movie in the country. And it's only in half as many theaters. So think about that. If it was in 3,800 movie theaters, probably would have did close to 11 million. That's not bad for a movie this movie, I can't imagine the budget was huge. You know, these religious movies, I don't think they spend a tremendous amount of money because they have kind of a limited audience, right? So that's probably a huge win for the production company. Now, is that less than 5 million? They could have shot that thing for less than 5 million. I bet there wasn't a single celebrity in the damn thing. Let's see. We'll check on the IMDb. His Only Son. See if Kirk Cameron or somebody was in it. His Only Son. See if we recognize anybody. Director David Helling. Writer David Helling. Nicholas Mowad. Sarah Sied. Daniel D. Silva. I don't recognize any of these actors, so I mean, that's not a knock. It's just, you know, they're not that famous. And yeah, so after being called by the Lord, Abraham's faith is tested on 3-day journey to sacrifice his son. Oh, it's all about that. Shooting in the desert is pretty cheap. Yeah. And why is it cheap? Because it's outside. And it's sunny. So, unlike the woods, where you might get too much shade, you pretty much got the light until the sun goes off the horizon, you know? And it looked like they shot everything in the desert here. The only downside of shooting in the desert, of course, besides, you know, it might be too hot for people. This doesn't look like the desert in the Middle East, by the way. This looks like the desert in California. This looks like the desert like in Nevada or New Mexico or California somewhere. If I see the giant rock from Star Trek, then I know they're in California. Wouldn't that be funny to see the giant? You know the rock I'm talking about from one of those early Star Treks with the Gorn, the big rock. I don't know if it's there's a name for it, but this is all about what's his name, Abraham. You know, the whole biblical story about him sacrificing his son. Well, he doesn't do it, but spoilers for those of you who have never read the Bible. So yeah, I could see that movie costing. I mean, if you paid everybody's scale and you shot in the desert, I think you could bring that in under $1 million, $2 million, definitely. I mean, what's the cost there? The shooting and the water bottles, basically. Ardent, you mean the Gorn wasn't in the Bible? Let us turn to Gorn 3, chapter 12. And yeth, say the Gorn. Yeth the Gorn said, he has risen, and Kirk will smite thee. Biblical Star Trek. That would be something. That would be a funny bit or a weird mix. It's like when they did the Klingon translation of Shakespeare. So yeah, that could be money. That could be money on a low budget like that. And even if it was like $5 million production, which I don't even think it was that much. I mean, that's still money, and it's probably going to make more money in the coming weeks. Ardent, verily the Gorn didst. LOL. Aurelius, I'm listening without video and heard Born. No, we're talking about the Gorn from that early episode of the Star Trek. You know, the big alligator-looking dude with the chainmail, which looked like it was reused for the Klingons later. Ardent, LOL, the Gorn identity. There you go. There's a movie. Or at least an SNL skit, if SNL wasn't so freaking partisan and horrible now. You know, they went back to the well on Trump again. I don't know if I'll have a headline later, but SNL did some stupid Trump. The moment Trump got back in the news, SNL's like, right there. Oh, yeah, we got to do a Trump thing. It's like, dude, you guys beat the whole Trump thing to death. I ran out of Trump jokes in, like, 2014. Oh, we're going to do more Trump. Oh, yeah, Orange Man bad. Ha, 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 ha. Which reminds me, Stephen Colbert is performing in Jersey with Jim Gaffigan, another sufferer of TDS. And I assume they're going to do comedy, and they're going to do stuff about Trump. Nastasina is here. Evening. Hello. Welcome. Ardent with the Python guys. Masticina. Good old that happened times. Yes. All right. And then at number 4, we got Scream 6. 5.3 million. I have zero interest in this movie. I don't understand. I mean, I kind of understand why they keep making it. It's like Scream has become the generic slasher movie that Hollywood makes, right? It's like they've run out Michael Myers and Freddy and Jason, and now it's just like, oh, okay, we'll just do Scream because it's just the same damn thing. I'm so sick of it. I'm sick of all of it. Corporate horror is the worst horror in my view. Ardent, Colbert does comedy? Not anymore, surely. I know. I guess he's trying it. I mean, not to get on a rant about Colbert again, but back in the day, man, during the Bush administration, when he did that press club dinner, I just thought, oh, wow, this was great. And now I just realized, God, the only reason he did that to Bush is he just felt, I guess, so self-righteous and everything. I mean, he is very talented, but, man, to watch him just, like, be so partisan now, so establishment, it's, like, sickening to me. He could be doing great stuff if he just would give that up, but I guess he can't. Masticina. Last time I saw Jason, he was shot into space. Yes. Was that Jason 10, I think? Where they had the holodeck? That was pretty funny. I saw clips from that. I thought it was pretty amusing. It was such a meta version of Jason at that point. I had a pitch for Jason. The premise of the movie was all the Jason movies actually took place in different summer camps, and that there was a government organization that was tracking them and trying to destroy them. And they decided what they would do is they would predict the next Jason and then hook up a device to the next Jason so they could control it and make it kill the other Jasons. Jason X, yes. JEC. Ardent, oh gods, I saw that in theaters as my first Friday the 13th movie. Yeah, that's funny. Your first one. Masticina, right, Jason X. I mean, space is pretty much the end point for any moment. JC, if you use Latin letters, it means cleaver. What, the X does? Oh, that's kind of cool. Masticina, take Alien. It always ended up in space. Oh, right, it also began in space. Ha! Masticina, Mecha Jason. Why not? Stupid idea. Sounds fun. Yeah, I think, well, they did have, I think I talked about it maybe last week. They did have a pitch. It was going to be Jason versus Freddy versus Ash from the Evil Dead movies. This was in 2007, and they had done it as a comic book. And so this comic book exists, by the way. And of course, what would be the ending? Well, Ash kills both of them and wins. So, but they couldn't negotiate it because the guys who held the rights to Jason and Freddy wouldn't allow Ash to kill them. Which to me is stupid because who cares? He kills them in one movie, like, they just come back again. I mean, at this point, they're killed in every movie. Wow, you guys are... the comments are coming fast and furious. Masticina, spoken about fun. Renfield trailer. Hell yeah, Renfield will be so bad. That looks good. I mean, Nick Cage is Dracula. Ardent, LOL, Mecha Jason versus Cocaine Freddy. JC, clever, I mean. Oh, okay. King of Sanity, welcome. Every time I try to eat Burger King while driving, I get sesame seeds stuck in my pee hole. Well, I think you're eating wrong. Ardent, oh, they should have made that movie. Yeah, they really should have. It would have been good. It would have been huge for the horror fans. And I think it would have started a trend of doing crossovers, which I was just about to say, you know, how far can you take it? That's the next step. You take it into crossovers. So it's Jason versus Freddy, Freddy versus Mike Myers, Mike Myers versus Jason, versus Ash, versus, you know, Ghostface, whatever. JC, should have just had them sucked through a portal to hell in the end on a cliffhanger. Yeah, or that. It doesn't really matter. They're supernatural. They can always come back to life. You could throw in Dracula. You could throw in all the monsters. It'd be fun. I mean, that's why back in the day I signed on with the guys who at Silent Devil. They were doing Dracula versus King Arthur, and I was helping them promote it. It's a great concept, Dracula versus King Arthur, right? I mean, who don't want to see that? I mean, you could throw those guys in. There's all kinds of public domain characters. You could, old monsters you could throw in. Dracula's the main one, but what else? What else is main? I guess Frankenstein is public domain. Probably is old enough. I think that was published way back in the day. I mean, the original one, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. You know, there's plenty of ghosts. Man, you guys can't even keep up. Masticina, Renfield, Nicolas Cage will be given 300% the right to choose scenery. Nothing will be left. Glorious. Exactly. Ardent, Terminator versus Rambo. That could work. I think it could work, that one. Because it could be like the Terminator comes back to kill Rambo because it turns out Rambo helped train John Connor or something. But they've kind of messed up the Terminator story, so I would see it, though. I would totally be down for it. Masticina, a Jason sucked into a black hole crossover, that black hole horror movie. I don't know about that. Ardent, Event Horizon. Love it. Such a bad movie. Masticina, right, Event Horizon. Great little movie. Masticina should have been longer. So I don't know about that. Masticina, as in 20 minutes longer with more yikes. Ardent, Dracula versus a righteous king, assuming faith is in power, would get wrecked. I mean, there's so many things you could do. And now that they've... Like, Cocaine Bear almost opens the door to that. Again, she kind of whiffed it, but, you know, they're doing Meth Gator and Cocaine Shark, I think. So, you throw in some of these monsters, you know, you could have a versus situation that would be fun. You don't even have to do Dracula. You could just do vampires, werewolves, you know, aliens. I mean, Predator versus Jason. Who wouldn't see that? Conan versus Cocaine Bear. I'll tell you the greatest crossover of all time, Marvel Comics. It was called What If. It was a what if story, and it was what if Conan came to the 20th century. If you ever get a hold of that comic, It's the most glorious comic you'll ever read from Marvel back in the day. And the premise is, I believe it's Wolverine and Conan are both fighting a wizard in their respective timelines. Conan's in the past, and I think Wolverine's fighting a different wizard in the modern day, and they get zapped and they transplant places. So Wolverine ends up in Conan times, and Conan ends up in the modern day. And instead of becoming a good guy, he takes over the gangs of New York and he becomes a bad guy. And it's glorious. And the cover is Conan with a gun pointing at the reader. It's the best. Ardent, nope. Cocaine Conan versus Whippet's Werewolves. Masticina. It is the last week of summer camp, and the three-headed shark is seen in the lake. Then a pack of cocaine falls into the lake. Masticina. Conan in the 20th century. Oh, hell yeah. It's great. Ardent. Based barbarian is the best barbarian. Yes. Before he added women to his squad. As Conan, as a barbarian, I may be a barbarian and uneducated, but I acknowledge the power of women. Is the new Conan, I imagine, at Marvel. Ladies. Yes, Conan, thanks for respecting our pronouns. How much fun are we going to make of Marvel when this era is over? If there's any comic book companies left. That's gonna be glorious. Sign me up for that, new Marvel Kings. Ardent. LOL. Big Red Sonia. Masticina. Right, how long do we give Marvel? 1 year? I don't know. They're going to have to go out of business, essentially. We're going to have to wait until Disney folds up the entire division and either sells it off, which they probably won't, or they'll start licensing it, and then maybe. Ardent. Barbarian spreading. Masticina. 6 months? No. It's going to be longer than that. They still got lots of money. Aurelius. Not just that. Now every savage people must be nature-worshipping tree huggers. Masticina. 3 months? Nah, more like 3 years. You got to wait for Trump to come back, basically. Basically, when Trump comes back, the whole thing's going to start to turn around. I think it's going to start to turn around next year. That's when I think the culture really starts to shift. When everybody starts abandoning all this woke stuff because now it becomes cool to be anti-woke. I've been predicting this since the beginning of the woke cards. Ardent. Oh yeah, when the comics companies collapse and guys like Eric July and Razor Fist get to pick up the pieces. I don't know if Razor Fist will. But Eric July very, very well might. Masticina. Yep, nobody trusts Marvel Comics at this point, even if they suddenly began to make good stuff again. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't think Razor's looking to make a company. I think he's going to make super high-end quality, his stuff. Eric, though, I think he has ambition in that area. I think he seems to me like a guy who might broaden out into that. I mean, I wish one of them would. Guys who have money. What it really needs, I don't know if you guys remember CrossGen. CrossGen Comics showed up. When the hell they show up? I was in the mix then, early 2000s at some point. And they just had tons of money. But they didn't, in my view, they didn't know what they were doing. They had a couple titles that might have went somewhere, but Ardent, yeah, just use Razor Fist as an example. Masticina, if you want good content, make your own. Done. Masticina, okay then, we do that. Yeah, somebody needs a big pile of money is what it comes down to. And here's the kicker. Here's what CrossGen didn't have, in my view. They didn't have a plan to take over comics, right? Their plan broke down to basically we're going to compete just like the big two, not to take it over, but to be like, I don't know, the third wheel, I guess. And I told them, I said, this is all going to fold, and you guys will sell the whole thing off and try to get your money back. And I think they tried to do that. I don't know if they were successful. Ardent, I vaguely remember cross-gen. Indeed. Make your own, yes. And they just wasted a lot of money, I think. You know, it's not that they necessarily had bad ideas, but their ideas were too luxurious, I'll say. Masticina, Pinky, what do we do tomorrow? Brain, we take over the world. Exactly. So what you need is somebody to do something bold. And the way I would do it would be to first, I would change the pricing structure. You have to have comics that are so worth it to buy that people, and they look decent enough that you go, I don't know any of these characters, but this is a great price point. So what I would do is I would do like 100 pages for $5, something like that. Or maybe like 120 pages for $5. So you'd have a nice, like the Japanese do it basically. And you have like a nice anthology comic. It's thick. It takes you a while to read it. You're not just going to read it in 10 minutes and put it in a box. And you have at least 5 different stories. Masticina, I can't draw for S, but I don't mind learning how to write good stories and make them comic ready for the actual good artists to turn in the comics. Well, I could talk rather extensively on this subject of all the pitfalls of that, but let me finish my thought on the approach I would take. So you would need this completely different approach, right? So what would you rather buy in the comic book store? Would you rather pay $4.99 for one issue of, I don't know, Captain America, and it's woke, and I don't know, it's gay Captain America, or $5 for gay Robin, or whatever gay character they're putting out now, and it's only essentially 22-page story with like 14 pages of ads? Or do you want to buy a 120-page comic for say $4.99, and it's got no or few ads because it's brand new, and it's just chock full of stuff, right? But you got to understand that would be a loss leader, right? Masticina, $4.99, they're going up to $7.99. Yeah, it's completely unsustainable. No one's going to pay that kind of price. I won't. I bailed out of comics when they left $2.99. You know, I was still buying comics at $1.99 and $2.99. $2.99 I could almost handle. After that, I was like, you're crazy. You're absolutely insane. I kept my comics under $2 for the most part for a long time. Masticina, 22 pages printed on toilet paper. Yeah, you need a good deal. I mean, like, you can get a good deal in China, but that's risky. Ardent, you can't draw for S. Excellent. You're perfect for modern comics as long as you're some sort of DIE hire. It might be that what you'll do, and we talked about this, we talked about this 20 years ago. The idea would be you render a character, and then you render a background in, say, 3D. And the idea would be, for instance, say you render a Spider-Man type character who swings building the building, and then you render a skyline, but that's in 3D too. And so the idea would be you could go into the rendering and move the character around, reposition them, and then take a picture for a panel, move that over, reposition them again, another panel, and basically move them like an action figure in a set that you would have. And you would use an artist for the rendering and the design, and then, you know, you could crank out more comics at a cheaper rate. You know, and the artist wouldn't have to do that much work. Now, you might need you definitely need like a computer guy or a program that would be so good it could do that. This is what we're approaching with AI. And we're actually approaching beyond that. The AI is going to allow us to take a video of an actor, and again, this all goes back. and you should see this movie. This movie predicted the future of movies. It's called Looker with Albert Finney. Greatest movie in the 80s ever. And the premise is Hollywood uses computers to shoot movies and commercials. And they realized at some point, every time the actors moved, their score for looking perfect kept dropping, because as you move, the actress's hair would move or the clothes would move, and they couldn't keep it perfect. However, they realized if you could render the entire actor in the computer, then the computer could just move the character or move the person around, the actor or actress around, and give it voice and do everything and keep it perfect, right? So the idea of the movie is they scanned in all these actors, paid them off. They own their rights, but they have to pay them royalties, and now they're killing them off so they don't have to pay the royalties. That's part of the movie. But that part of the movie was, it was just an 80s movie plot. But the other part of the movie, the fact that you're scanning in actors, is here. Because Michael Douglas apparently is in negotiation with some studio to sell his likeness to the studio so they could do that with him. So Michael Douglas, after he dies, they'll continue to just stick him in movies. And he won't even be there. It'll just be a CGI Michael Douglas moving around, talking, and actors interacting with him. Eventually, they'll do that for all the actors. So you'll take, and this is perfect for someone like, say, Harry Styles or Lady Gaga or even Madonna. You could take someone like that, render them, put them in the movie, and they don't have to act. You get the computer to act. Now, will it be good? Not at first. But eventually, you're going to get some 14-year-old, once the software's easy enough, who will make a movie in his laptop that'll be amazing. So we'll be able to make movies like, I'm not going to need actors anymore. I look forward to that glorious day. No offense, actors. And, I'll just buy the images of some no-name actors, and I'll just make the damn movie myself. Scan myself in, the whole thing. That same could be done with comics and AI. But, there's some ethical concerns. I mean, obviously what you'd want to do is get an artist to draw a bunch of stuff, scan it in on the AI, and then get the AI to do panel-to-panel stuff. Maybe under the supervision of an artist, so we wouldn't have to work that much. Sorry, I've missed like a million comments. Masticina, I don't have enough diversity points to outwin a crayon-eating CW writer. JC, that's basically what people do now, only the artist traces the 3D model. Yeah, I've worked with guys who do that. But I'm okay with that because, I can't do it. JC, and it depends on how badly they trace. JC, would have got more money for Kirk Douglas. Masticina, we even have AI VTubers, right? Neurosama, tell us again while VDAL created you. Because creating an AI is easier than finding a girlfriend. Aurelius, it will be transformative. Yes. Masticina, but we see a lot of 3D animated anime on Netflix. Yes, and soon enough it comes to comics. And Ardent, when the deepfake ability to put Elvis and Sean Connery on screen with Charlie Chaplin appears, it will be weird. Yeah, but those guys won't matter because they'll be the big studios will be stupid. They'll fight over the rights to them and own them, thinking that's a big score. Oh, we own Elvis. You can't put Elvis in a movie without our permission. Nobody's going to care who Elvis is in 50 years. And they'll just find some no-name guy who looks handsome and take a picture of him, and that'll be it. JC, they've been trying to use computers to make comics for 40 years. They've been trying to make comics with photos for 70. It always looks like S. Yeah. But, it's a way to do it. If you did it on a large scale with... The problem is they don't have artists. They try to do it without the artist or around the artist. What you need is artists to supervise it, right? So, when artists get big, one of the things they do is they start a studio, and they'll have 3 or 4 guys working underneath them. And what they'll do is they'll do the majority of the work, and then the name artist will come in, after all the blacks are filled in, and he'll touch it up and put his finishing on it so it looks like his style. And he's got a bunch of guys who works in his studio. Now what you could do is essentially outsource the work to the part of the work, at least, to the AI, and then have artists supervise and tweak it and make it better. So make it to bring it up to a level that's usable. But what you'd want is enough material to crank out in these cheap comics, because that's what it's supposed to be. It has to be cheap. And the stories would have to be good. The AIs can't write, by the way. They can't write at all. Ow. I've tried to get them to write stuff, and it's terrible. But it's terrible on a level that could pass, say, for a sitcom or, some terrible thing that's already on TV or whatever. So if you got some good writers and some good artists, and you would basically be taking a team, let's say 6 to 8 guys who could do the work normally of putting out one comic each. Each team could put out a comic a month. So maybe that's, with a team of 6 to 8 guys, there'll only be 1 or 2 comics, maybe 3. But with the AIs, you could kick it up to at least 5 comics a month. So you could put out this thick comic at a really cheap rate. And they would be like salaried guys. And this is why you need some amount of money. You wouldn't need gazillions of dollars. But if you had the cross-gen money, you could make it work. It's a compromise between the AI stuff and the art. You want to use the AI to kick up your volume of work. So a guy like Bitchute, he's got a very particular style. It's nice and clean. I think an AI could take his style and make more she comics, so he could double or triple his output. He could get a graphic novel done, let's say, in a couple of months, 200 pages, and it would be cool. But I get it. I mean, yeah, there would be some bristling from the fans, I'm sure. Masticina, fun thing, somewhere in Japan, someone will hand draw a 2D comic and it will become a huge hit because it feels artistic. It's true. That never will be gone. But I'm saying to build a comic book company to compete and to save the comic stores, you would have to create something that cranks out material. We'd need serious content, and then eventually it becomes collectible. Something becomes a hit, right? So say you put out 5 stories a month in this anthology, and one of them becomes big enough that it could sustain a comic on its own. And then you start spinning that off, and then you bring in a new book. Masticina, fun thing, somewhere in Japan, someone will hand draw. Oh, I did that one. JC, I think you could do a romance manga with AI. AI can do good anime style. JC, you could do a decent manga with AI talking heads. Yeah. Masticina, oh yeah, AI writing is silly. Yeah, it doesn't work. I was watching SpongeBob AI on Twitch. It is insane, and I mean it insane. SpongeBob is crazy, and the AI doing stupid things, and you get crazy times. Yeah, it's like the Seinfeld thing they tried to do, which got shut down, I think. So I think it could work. Masticina, yeah, the current writers, artists are bad, and even with the AI, they can't keep it running. What if they rent out IP rights to manga creators? I mean, I think what you just need are good ideas. I do the Pineys. The Pineys has a base, a foundation, which I can do hundreds of stories. And that's my inspiration for doing stuff like that was Jack Kirby. When Jack Kirby did the Topps comics, and I would immediately, if I was running Marvel or DC or something, after I fired all the woke morons and replaced them all, one of the first things I do is be like, let's acquire Topps comics. Let's acquire all their IPs, because what he did was he set up yet another universe with possibilities for thousands of issues. And you need that kind of basis. You can't just do, like John Wick's pretty cool, but I don't think it laid the basis for even the 4 movies they made. I think they've already sort of stretched it out. But you can make properties that, they're big. The worlds are big enough that you feel like, oh man, there's a lot here to explore. With the Pineys, I feel like I'm just getting started, and I'm starting book 13 soon. And so if you have a concept like that, a universe like that, that really is fun and interesting, you can make it work. But we need, again, like the writers, even back in the day in the 90s and 2000s when I was reading stuff, I liked a lot of the writers, but most of them, even the good writers, weren't that great. They were okay. Some of them would have flashes of brilliance. I don't want to name any names because I kind of like those writers, but, there were very few that I thought, wow, this guy could jump right in the books or whatever. Neil Gaiman was probably the only one, and he did, right? Like Neil Gaiman, you could just tell by reading the old Sandman stuff, oh yeah, he knows what he's doing. Oh, he could write a book. I knew immediately reading a Sandman comic, yeah, Neil Gaiman could write a book. Most of the other superhero guys, no way. I mean, they could write a book. It wouldn't be great. But Neil Gaiman, I could read his book. I know I could read. I haven't read American Gods, but, he wrote it. And he's a good writer. Like, he's at that level. It's like the difference between, I knew a guy, he was a gallery artist and a comic book guy. So his art was like up here. I mean, he was a gallery artist. You know how good you have to be a real gallery artist? You have to be really good. But a lot of comic guys, they're not that good. Some of them are good, but they're not that good. I mean, some guys are really good at cartoons. They could do an Archie type style, and that's good. And then some guys can do portraits of actors that look realistic. That's another whole level. So you need guys like that, and you would have to make it stable enough for them to stay, and you'd have to explain to them in the beginning, like, this isn't about like creating a bunch of crazy stuff that we're going to try to make work. What's about is creating a comic book company that has a readership. And yes, you could launch crazy stuff within that once you've established it, but you'd want to build up this huge readership. You'd want to, and that's really hard to do. It has to be like every week something has to come out. So people go, I have to read this comic. I have to read it because I'm hooked on it. And that takes time. And so you would need to fund this thing for like 5 years. Easily. You would need at least 5 years. Cranking this stuff out. Huge library of content. Like the first 2 years don't even count. It would just go by and people would be like, I didn't even know this comic book company existed. You would have to do so much promotion to build it up. Cross-gen guys they just didn't have that kind of stamina in my view. And their ideas had to be short in the beginning because they're all going to be gone. By the time someone discovers your new comic book company and actually tries it, you're going to be like a year and a half in. And by that time, they're not going to want to get into a story. You're going to have to crank out new stuff. And so people will say, oh, you should have read the story before this with this other character. He was good too. So, anyhow, sorry to rant about comics. But you could do, a book a week. Again, five stories, 120 pages, $5. You want to do a book a week, so it's in the stores every single week. One book is like sci-fi, one book supernatural, one book is like, I don't know, adventure stories, maybe one book superheroes, something like that. And then you kick it up if it starts to work eventually. And you have to have just a huge library, and you'd have to have stuff on the web too. Oh man, you'd have to have web comics just to just to give them away to keep people interested. You know, you'd have to have little side stories. So you'd have to have this like ridiculous amount of content, and you'd have to keep cranking it out until you got your hits. And then once you started getting your hits, you'd have to like use them as the spearhead to keep the comics going, and then launch new ones. So, anyhow, sorry. Let's get back to movies. Number 5, Creed 3, 5 million. Okay, still in theaters, still doing okay, I suppose. 250 million worldwide, 258. That's not bad. I think that's money. Definitely didn't cost more than 258 million to make that movie. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, not doing well at all. 119 million, probably not money. This is probably a $200 million project. Warner Brothers, man. Warner Brothers. You've turned into the DC Comics of movies, I think. You know, oh, what did Marvel do 10 years ago? Let's do that. I mean, God bless you. You're trying to de-wokeify your company, but take your time, I guess. I mean, you really need to, like... They think this what James Gunn is doing is extreme. It's not extreme enough. Like, he's good. I think it'll be a vast improvement, but he needs to, like... They're still releasing woke crap. I mean, yeah, it's still eking out. They still have stuff in their TV division that's coming out that's woke as hell. You got to get rid of it all, in my view. Masticina, Jesus Revolution. It is the end. It is end March, begin April. In my mind, it is like a movie with Jesus on a racing team. Yeah, I guess. It was interesting to see Kelsey Grammer try to promote the movie because he started talking about his own religion. Or his own religious journey, I'll say. And that's fine, but like I never heard Kelsey Grammer talk about his religion prior to this movie. So color me suspicious, whatever, but it's fine. But it's more evidence that Hollywood is making that move, right? So you got Kelsey Grammer talking about his religion, shooting a movie, and granted, you might say, well, he's just doing it for the movie, but even if that's true, he's now put himself outside the Hollywood camp. The Hollywoke guys got to look at him sideways now. Wait a minute. Didn't you just do Jesus Revolution or whatever it is? It's like he's kind of put himself outside the regular Hollywood camp, and a lot of these guys are. So Mark Wahlberg is making a big move to Las Vegas, and he's talking about doing a production company and competing with Hollywood, and that's big because he's still a big star. He is a big star, and you might say, well, he hasn't really been in a hit movie in a while, but it doesn't matter. He's got a big enough name and a big enough fan base. Even if he just does B movies successfully and they're more wholesome and whatever, that's going to eat away at the Disney money. Certainly, Disney has abandoned, I think, their audience of wholesome movies. Everybody's looking to eat that lunch. Everybody. It's just sitting there being waited to be gobbled up by some big production company that starts doing wholesome movies. And that's why I think you see these religious movies doing well. Masticina, it is Lionsgate tends to bring out the smaller movies. I think Lionsgate, I like Lionsgate. I have a little stock in Lionsgate because I knew a guy who worked there. And I thought, oh, I'll invest in him. Maybe he's going to do good work now. He's not really working there, but and the stock hasn't come back to what I bought it at. This is not financial advice, obviously. Anyhow, I think Lionsgate, unfortunately, is just desperate. And they downsize and downsize and downsize. But hopefully they're going to pull out at a dive and get a hit on their hands. Jesus Resolution, they say, is a hit for them, so good. I hope they get back on. They seem to have dropped down to like an A24 neon movie level, but they were bigger than that. But Masticina, but yeah, Hollywood doesn't like Jesus at all. Mark Wahlberg, I think he can make something happen. Yeah, I really do. Too. Yeah, and he's got connections too. So some of those actors he knew in the movies, and you know, they may have big names. We'll say, "F it, I'll come be in your movie. Why not?" I mean, the list is growing every day. So you got Mark Wahlberg. You kind of got Kelsey Grammer. I think he's kind of on the fence, but who knows? You got Gina Carano, of course. You got Dean Cain, Kevin Sorbo. There's a female actress. I can't think of her name. Some controversy on the Hallmark Channel or something. I forget her name. I think it's Byrne is her last name. So, and then probably you got Chris Pratt, but like Chris Pratt is too big in Hollywood to leave, but eventually, who knows? He could decide, I'm going to take all my fans with me, and then who's Hollywood got left? At that point, oh man, they lose Chris Pratt. That's a big loss for them. So I think Ardent, James Woods, yes, love to see a James Woods come back in one of these other movies, right? James Woods would come back, sure. Work with Mark Wahlberg. I don't think he has a problem with him. I don't think he's ever been in a movie with him, though. I can't think of one he's been in with Mark Wahlberg. Their careers kind of, like Wahlberg came up kind of as James Wood was sort of fading out. But, I mean, really, the last big thing I think James Wood was in was probably Family Guy, right? I'm sure he did a few movies, but maybe there's one movie I'm trying to think of. But, yeah, I would love to see James Woods come back, do a movie with Gina Carano and Mark Wahlberg and all these guys. And just crush it. And just absolutely crush it, you know? And some of the movies the Daily Wire are producing are pretty good. I saw their first movie. It was decent. It's totally decent. I like the school shooter movie. It looks good. I didn't see that one, but I've heard good things. It looks fine. So yeah, I mean, Mark Wahlberg, if he could put out a movie like one of his heist movies or bank robber movies, or, you know, at the level that Hollywood puts him out, I don't think that's what he would go for. I think if he did something like that, yeah, he'd start competing with Hollywood in a big way. But Hollywood will be gunning for these guys. Understand, Hollywood doesn't just let you make a movie to compete with them. Read about the story of Don Quixote when Terry Gilliam tried to make it with Johnny Depp. Because what I read was the big Hollywood studios didn't want that movie to succeed, because what had happened was they got European financiers. And the guys in the studio were afraid if the Europeans could start financing big budget movies that were successful, that could be a huge competition. They didn't want to see that happen. So there's no proof that I'm aware of, but the implication was like, yeah, Hollywood did everything they can to make sure that that movie wasn't going to happen, and it did fall apart. Did they end up doing it? I think they eventually ended up doing it somehow, but not with Terry Gilliam or Johnny Depp. Or it may have just been that, you know, Terry Gilliam, you know, couldn't pull it together for whatever reason. Masticina. B movies usually don't make much money, but they usually don't have a Marvel-sized CGI budget. Yeah, but who cares? Marvel CGI sucks now, in my view. And you don't need a huge budget, you know. I was in a music video, a reggae music video, by the way. You can look it up. It's called, the song's called Don't Say Hello. And they did a CGI demon, and he looked pretty cool. And they shot it upstairs in my house, and they had fire and everything. There wasn't a real fire; they just made up the fire in CGI, and it looks pretty good. Good. I mean, you know, for a low budget thing, it didn't cost a lot of money. So you can do stuff that's halfway decent, as long as it's not the whole damn movie. Like, as long as you're not doing superpowers, yeah, you can do. You know, you got to be clever with it. So, like, typically they'll budget, I don't know, a few minutes of that kind of stuff for whatever reason, and then if you just use it at just the right moment, I think you can make it work. Ardent, Run, Hide, Fight, or something earlier? No, Run, Hide, Fight is the one I'm thinking of for the school shooting. There was one before that, though. That was their first movie that was good. I forget what it was called. It's about a woman locked in a pantry for the whole movie. It was pretty good. Masticina, which is what kills movies and series the huge budget required for the special effects? Sometimes. But there are ways around it. There are a million ways around it. Ardent, I need to see Terror on the Prairie too. Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet. Masticina, and isn't that the problem? Huge CGI budget and it looks horrible. But hey, Disney only learns by burning a lot of money. Yeah. I mean, so look, for the Pineys, I did, and you could look on my YouTube channel, I did a commercial for the Pineys. And you could see how you could cheat it, right? Because in the Pineys, they hunt devils. And so I needed to somehow, I was going to actually get the same guy in the music video to do my effect, but we couldn't pull it together. But, you know, for only a few seconds of effect, you can make it very effective. And for the Pineys, yeah, you could just get around it. I don't need a long, drawn-out scene with the characters fighting a devil. I might just need to see it for a minute. And, you know, the characters shoot it or kill it or whatever, or trick it. And then it's a guy in a suit and it ends and then, you know, whatever. But Aurelius, Panic Room was the pantry one, I believe. Was it called Panic Room? I guess it was. The idea was the woman was in this old house, and she was she had been in rehab, gone through rehab, got her kids back, but she still had ties to her drug-addicted boyfriend and his idiot sidekick, who are both kind of menacing. And she ends up accidentally locking herself in this old pantry, and she can't get out. And then the boyfriend and this guy come over, and they're basically trying to get money out of her, get her to take drugs again. They won't let her out of the pantry, and then she has to find a way out of the pantry, and she finds her faith, and it's a pretty good movie. I don't remember if it was called Panic Room, though. It might have been. But yeah, there are ways to do it. I could do a Pineys episode with almost no effects. You know? You do it all off camera, and you cheat it. It's called cheating. But you can make it work. I did it for the commercial, and it looks fine. It's funny. It depends on what your goal is, you know. Number 7 was 1001, and I just did a trailer breakdown on this. This one's fine. 1.8 million. It just opened. It's okay. It's a drama, urban drama about a single mom. Well, she's single at the beginning of the movie, but then she gets a new boyfriend, and it's about her trying to raise her son. I think her relationship eventually falls apart, but it looked decent. I mean, for an urban drama. I mean, that's not my kind of movie. I find them kind of boring, but it's fine. Number 8, 65. This is basically Spaceman versus dinosaurs. See, that's a movie that requires tons of CGI. Because the whole movie is just dinosaurs and space weapons. 1.5 million. And it's a serious one. That's the other difference, too. Like, with the Pineys, since it's a comedy, like, the bar is much lower. When you have a serious movie, you have to sell it. It has to be good. Ant-Man and the Wasp, speaking of bad CGI, number 9, 1.2 million. And they say this movie lost money. I don't know. Again, it's the studios. They may be saying that so they can write it off on their taxes. It may be true. I think they probably lost money. At the very at best, they probably broke even. I wanted to see the international box office on this. Okay, so China only did 40 million. That is terrible in China. So you take out China and it's only about 400 million. I think that's probably break even for them. But there was a ton of CGI, but I guess you could blame that on the woman they just fired. Number 10, Jesus Revolution. Speak of the devil, or Jesus. $1 million this weekend. Still hanging out there. Doing well. What's the total on this? 50 million. And it didn't go international? Well, I could see that some markets, yeah, they wouldn't want a Christian movie in certain markets, but I could see this playing in Europe. I don't know why you wouldn't at least take it to Europe. They definitely wouldn't play it in China. That is true. You could certainly do it in Canada. Why wouldn't you send this movie to Canada or South America? There are plenty of other Christian markets. I don't get. Weird. Cocaine Bear, $850K, still out there. Did $83 million. Judging by the look of this movie, especially in the third act, that's got to be money. I don't think they spent more than $20 million on this thing. It kind of looks cheap, except for one scene. The scene that ends up in the trailer. But man, that third act looks cheap, in my view. Avatar: Way of the Water, $846,000. This will go out of the theater soon, I think. The international on this was huge. $250 million just in China. France was number 2 at $150 million. That's probably the biggest movie in France, I would imagine. $146 million in Germany. South Korea, $105 million. And United Kingdom, $93 million. Those are the big markets. I mean, China definitely number 1. Mexico. See, I think for Jesus Revolution, you could do Australia. I don't think you could do India, but you could definitely do Mexico, Spain, Italy, Korea, Germany, France. I think those would all play there. Champions, that comedy with Woody Harrelson and Caitlin Olsen. Or Caitlin, is it Olsen? Caitlin from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. 14 million domestic, 1.8 international. Oof. All right, give me 1 sec. I gotta go to the bathroom. My teeth are floating. Oh, hold on. I'll be right back. Drank too much before the stream started. Sorry. Mesticina, know your target audience and your movie might do well. Or your audience that isn't smart. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, normally this movie would have done okay. Because it's basically the Bad News Bears with special kids playing basketball. But not doing well. I don't think it got a wide release. I mean, it's in 1,100 theaters, but it's Focus Features, so. Kite is here. Good, very early morning, Tony and Little Joan. 1:30 a.m. is morning, right? LOL. Yes. Masticina. Gotta lay off the moonshine, at least before the video. Yeehaw! Let's see. A Good Person. Which one was this? I don't remember this. A Good Person. I don't know what this one is. But $500,000. Not to. Wow, was that the total of the movie? Oof. 1.7 million total. 86,000 international. Wow, that movie is not doing well. Kite. Sorry I'm late. I just woke up. No worries. Puss in Boots still hanging in there. 430,000. That did well. I think that made some money. Malum, which is a horror movie, weird looking horror movie, 221,000. That is not good. Surprising because it's a horror movie. It's in 249 theaters. I would have thought it would have done better. But Masticina, The Whale seems to be doing well enough for a specialist movie. Let's see. Here it is down here. 19,000 this weekend. I don't know, 39 million? I didn't see it, but I don't know if that's money because, I mean, Brendan Fraser isn't cheap, and it's Aronofsky, right, directed it, but it's all for the Oscars, so maybe. It probably made some money. I mean, they probably all took pay cuts to make it. Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I still haven't seen. Masticina, Violent Night is still going on. Wow, love that movie. Really, it was good, huh? I can't stand David Harbour, so I found, and now John Leguizamo is annoying me too. So I want to. I might watch it like on HBO Max or something. Masticina. So an Oscar-winning "Whoops, we lost money again" movie, probably. I don't know. I mean, maybe it made money. A Quiet Girl, Enya's Men, did $459,000. It looks like a low budget movie though, and that's about it. Kite. I mean, Brandon went down in value since his disappearance from films for a while, right? Yeah, but he is a name. I mean, he did lead a multi-million-dollar franchise, The Mummy, and now they're talking about bringing that back. So I would like to see him do another Mummy movie, maybe pass the torch to another character. His character had a son, by the way, so we'll see how they swap it out to a girl somehow. Ardent. A few equals if you, speech to text. Oh. Masticina. Oh, yes. Suggestible HBO Max movie. Just a fun little Christmas movie for the whole family. Kite. But it's instant Oscar bait, and it annoys the, quote, healthy at any size screecher. So a win? LOL? I guess. But it's also, the plot of the movie, if you don't know, is the reason he's fat is he's gay. And his gay lover killed himself, and that's why he's stuffing his face. And he has a daughter, but he's divorced because he's gay, and it's a whole gay thing. So, notice they're not trying to. I don't think Brendan's gay, and notice they're not canceling him for a straight guy playing a gay character, right? That was a whole thing for a while. Still kind of is with cartoon characters for some reason. Oh, if you're not gay, you can't voice a gay person. Or you can't voice a person of that race unless you are of that race, because acting doesn't exist for the woke. Masticina, ha. That is easy. See, his son found herself in the 2 years the story took place. No. Emotional eater, yes. All right, so that's the box office this weekend. Almost 100 million for the whole weekend. Masticina, poor Apu. Who needs the quickie mart? I do. Apu was like my favorite character on the show for a long time. And, That they cucked on Apu was such a bad move. So I haven't seen Family Guy since they also cucked on Cleveland. I wonder how that sounds. Checking out the headlines. Ardent, we need more Foundlander representation on screen. You do. I would complain. Kite, that's because they are small-minded. They can only see the fat thing because they haven't gone to see it because it wasn't advertised as a gay thing. Yeah, pretty much. The big news in Hollywood is Japanese composer Ryuichi Sakamoto dies. And he did scores for Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, and The Last Emperor. He's 71. There's still some drama around Kevin Costner maybe leaving Yellowstone. I don't quite understand why. I guess this is a way to get people to watch Yellowstone, but I'm not sure what the angle is here, or maybe Kevin Costner's holding out for more money or something. Ardent, yeah, Pooh was a terrible, stereotypical, hard-working business owner and operator supporting his family. How evil. Yeah, it's just like, he was a great character. I loved watching him. And, even when they had Aziz Ansari on very late in the run, and he plays his nephew, that was a great episode too, because it was showing like Apu was more old school immigrant, and Aziz's character was like third generation Indian in the States, like spoiled hipster kid who wanted to remake everything. Great episode. Masticina. But if you advertise something as a gay thing, well, we've seen how those movies went straight to Netflix LGBTQ section. Well, I mean, again, I don't think The Whale did all that much, even the way they advertised it. So I think the gay thing, I mean, it goes to show you too. It's like 9 times out of 10, Hollywood harps on the gay stuff or the trans stuff or whatever, the racial stuff, whatever. This time they didn't even bother to do it. And why not? Like, they're so inconsistent. Like, they could have squashed the whole fat acceptance thing in a heartbeat if they had just come out and said, well, he's gay. You didn't even hear about it. I didn't hear about it until finally people started talking about the actual story in the movie, and then I was like, oh, he's gay. That's why he's fat. Or, well, he's gay and his lover died or whatever. So I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. But again, it was all Oscar bait. All right, so SNL, of course, back in the headlines. Weekend update April Fool's prank. SNL audience member yells, "You stink," at Cullen Jost. Hilarious. Kite. True at Masticina. Yeah, so I'm not sure what this was, but again, you can read about it if you want. There was all sorts of stuff in the show about Trump. Do they have other pictures? Oh, there's Dilbert. Oh, so they made fun of Scott Adams. Masticina, good old April Fool's pranks. Yeah, hilarious. What would be hilarious if they actually started doing comedy again on SNL. Beau is Afraid is a new movie coming out. Looks interesting. Joaquin Phoenix going crazy, basically. Jack Black wants to call Elon Musk's bluff on removing Twitter verification check marks. It's definitely not cool to pay for it. I am tired of TDS syndrome. Yeah, it's just all very tiresome. I think everybody's getting tired of it, really. I mean, I just won't I won't discuss politics with certain members of my family anymore. I just won't. I just start going, stop talking about politics. Stop talking about it. I don't want to talk about it with you. You're too unreasonable. Don't talk about it with me. If you can't be reasonable, stop. You're too emotional. You're going to start screaming Trump. And let me tell you something. People who have TDS will tie almost any political conversation back to Trump. They will go around the block to get back to Trump. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. You could be talking about education and schools. Somehow Trump will be to blame. You could talk about the East Palestine disaster, right? Big disaster, big environmental disaster. Trump, not president at all. Somehow he's to blame. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. You want to just tell these people, do you see yourself? You wish you could show them themselves. You know, right now in New Jersey, they're building these wind turbines, and whales and seals and dolphins are washing up dead on our beaches, more than any in the history of New Jersey that I'm aware. Right? So we've got bodies piling up of the animals that supposedly all these green morons wanted to save. And turns out all the construction of the wind turbine is killing them. It's killing them. And they actually came out with the first death and said, oh, well, it was a boating accident. They immediately tried to cover it up. Immediately. Now these woke morons are protesting. Yeah, who'd they vote for? Yeah, right. Masticina, oh, come on, Jack Black. Ardent, yeah, I can't talk about the jab with one family member. Yeah. Oh, I'm waiting for that day. I'm waiting for the day I can turn to somebody and go, you know I didn't get the jab, right? You know I haven't been sick. Knock on wood. I haven't been sick since, I think I got sick in 2020. Was the last time I got sick. Every one of my family members just about is jabbed, and they've all gotten fairly seriously, you know, with flu. Not like deathly, not like hospital stay, but you know how you get sick. And then you get really sick, like you have a cold versus like, oh, I had the flu and I was out for a week. Like, they've all gotten like the flu and we're out for a week. That hasn't happened to me. I can't even remember the last time it happened. Knock on wood. I don't want to curse myself. So, Kite, you are? Love it. At Masticina. Masticina, you're breathing air? Do you know who also breathes air? Kite, they are self-destructive because they don't even know why. Aurelius, oh, I've met compulsive Reddit users, and it's amazing how their opinions on the world are so NPC-like that it's amazing. Yeah, I agree. Kite, those memes with swapping out cartridges are so true. They really are. Ardent, well, I mean, over in Cambridge, I think, you know, the home of smart British people, supposedly, they cut down acres of trees for environmentally friendly bus route. I saw that on, it's either the Lotus Eaters or PJW or both, I think. Aurelius, hate Trump, Musk, Russia in general, cartoonish idea, right-winglets in general. Ardent, yeah, it's most jabbed people in my family are the sickest. Masticina, hell, I got jabbed and I got COVID at a point, so, cool vaccine? Luckily, the weak variant, so it was mostly horrible for a few nights. Well, I'm glad you're better. Kite, I can't wait for the day I'm desired because I'm not COVID vaxxed, to be fair. Yeah, I'm waiting for that moment. I'm waiting for them to go, we need people who are not vaxxed, and we need their blood. Ardent, Reddit, where brain cells go to die. The big news story, oh, by the way, if you're in the States, I think most of you guys are out of the States, but to know, there's a measure trying to be passed in Missouri because they want to inoculate all the livestock in the United States with the jab. See, they're trying to get the mRNA in us. Anyway, and there's a measure on the docket for Missouri that would force them to label all the meat that got vaccinated, essentially. Aurelius, sorry, Tony, I partied hard and had very little sleep. My writing ain't so bueno right now. That's okay. Ardent, LOL, waiting for them to go, we need blood from the unvax. You're so effing paying for it. Yeah. Oh, they will. I know they will, because they'll be in big trouble then when the doctors are like, we need people who don't have the vax to give blood, and they're going to have to pay way more because there just won't be as many people. There just won't be as many. And the other bodily function they'll be paying for too. Kite, time to get out, get our own farms. Oh wait, Bill Gates won't give them up. Well, a lot of my neighbors are raising chickens now, and I'm in a very suburban area. So, and then I had one neighbor. He had 2 goats for a while, but he got rid of them. I hear doing the chickens isn't too bad, but you have to be wary because they do tend to bring in the rats. So, getting back to Jack Black, though, I mean, not so sure why he's weighing in on this. Why he even cares. If I had Jack Black's money, do you think I would spend a millisecond of my life worrying about $7 a month to pay on Twitter? Like, oh, it's not cool to pay for it. I guess if you're a broke college student, or you're broke like me, perpetually broke like me, yeah, it sucks for me because I can't blow $84 on the year on Twitter right now. I'd love to. But Jack Black? Okay, don't be on Twitter anymore, Jack. I mean, it's not like you need more attention. Masticina, I wish I could raise velociraptors. Ardent, I want to try goats. They eat everything. Ryan Citro, sorry, gotta go. Have to go to sleep. Good night, Ryan. Masticina, question marks? Yeah, so, I don't know. $48 for what? Oh, it's $84 for a year on Twitter. That's the new special. $7 a month. It's $8 a month normally, but if you pay the whole year, it's only $84. So that's what I would totally get that. But right now I'm strapped. At the end of this month, I might do it, but I want to go back to the Lotus Eaters for a month and say hi to them. So I don't know. Ardent, be 84 for Twitter. Kite, oh, I heard some chickens of certain popular foods suddenly stopped laying eggs during the egg crisis. Then people changed the feed from these popular ones, and egg production came back. Yep, that is very true. They were putting something in the feed so the chickens wouldn't lay eggs. Can you imagine these people? Yeah, they're kind of forcing people to become self-sufficient again. Which is an insane thing to do, because if the normies finally break and hear, like, these people may be, I don't know, trying to manipulate us or poison us or whatever they're trying to do, I'm not quite sure. They might just all just suddenly jump ship at once, and then what are you going to do? What are you going to do then when you try to lure people back to eat at your, like, I've stopped eating at fast food restaurants. I don't eat there anymore. There's probably only one I would eat at, and that's Chick-fil-A, because they're so good. But yeah, I just don't eat at those places anymore. And now with this potential that they're going to put mRNA in the meat, that's no good. Fortunately, I live in South Jersey, where there are still some farms. So we'll see what happens. But the problem is I don't have any money, so that's an issue. That is an issue. $84 for what again? It's just insane. You get a blue check mark, and then you can make longer tweets, and your tweets get seen by more people. And then people can sort by just the blue check marks, and I think you can do polls, and now you can't do polls unless you have the check mark. There's a couple other things. They're adding more things. They're trying to make it valuable. Masticina, it's about way after midnight here. Sleep well, all. Sleep well. Aurelius, maybe those who own lots of land will rule based refugees in compounds that will result in neo-feudalism and new city-states. Maybe. I don't know. That would be interesting. I don't think I'd like that. Although I could be a wandering minstrel going from feudal lord to tell my tales, and perhaps make some money as one of the feudal lords will grant me money as a patron of the arts. Masticina, gotta make money one way or another, right? Sleep well. Sleep well. Yes. Yes. Let's see. Was that it for Variety? I think so. Yes. Switching over to Hollywood Reporter. Members applaud Academy's new production and technology branch. The arts and sciences not only inspire each other, but require each other. Okay. Not sure what that means. The new branch is comprised of roughly 400 individuals previously classified as members at large, amongst them CTOs, stunt coordinators, and colorists. Oh, okay. So they're adding more people to vote in the Academy for the Oscars. They keep changing the rules every year. It's like they just keep changing them. Secret LA warehouse where Chloe Sevigny and more stars house their red carpet gowns. I so don't care. Not sure why you would announce that. In LA? Somebody will rob the damn place. Chris Pratt, Super Mario Brothers movie team on Mario Voice. No one cares. It's a 2-hour commercial for a video game. People are going to go see it. I probably won't see it. I don't really have it. I mean, I bet it'll be decent. I bet it'll be at least as good as the Lego movie, but so what? The stupid video game movie. Quinta Brunson. Who the hell is that? Oh, she's from Abbott Elementary. Quentin Brunson calls for teachers to be paid the money they deserve in SNL opening monologue. The last thing I would do is pay one thin extra dime to these woke tards currently teaching. I say, you want to pay them more money? Make their union go away and give them the union dues. And then have the ability to fire their sorry asses. Because teachers right now, you're going to get a reckoning. You're going to get a reckoning one way or another. Either the anti-woke will prevail and we're going to make schools based again and you're all going to lose your job. Or the worst outcome, you'll be successful in turning all the students into the Red Guard. And then the students will come for you. And we won't be able to protect you. So, you keep teaching communism, you morons. See what it gets you. Kite. Sorry, good teachers should be paid by taking money away from clear ideologues. Yeah. Yeah, there's another virtue signal from another Hollywood knucklehead. Disney's live-action Lilo and Stitch movie finds its Lilo. Why would you make this? This is totally insane, but which one was Lilo? Is that the kid? Maya Kaola joins Zach Galifianakis. Zach Galifianakis is going to be the alien. That's right. Okay. Ardent. LOL, the liberals forget that they get... I don't know if I can say that, so I'll just pretend. I know what you mean. Basically what the communists did to everybody. Up against the wall. SNL cold open. That the communists did it, not me. SNL cold open spoofs Donald Trump's indictment because, of course. Of course. So. No worries, Ardent. No worries. Ardent getting used to Rumble. Yeah, on Rumble we could probably say it. Kite. The left eats itself is a nice way of saying it. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, but they don't see it until it's too late. Read The Death of the Liberals. Man, what a eye-opening essay that is. It's crazy. because it charts what happened in the Soviet Union prior to the Stalin and the purges and the wind-up leading up to communism. That stuff happened. And it's frightening, the parallels. It really is. But here they are again, going after Trump. Again, dopey, stupid, lame, easy. The former president is being indicted for charges involving payments made during the 2006 presidential campaign to silence claims of an extramarital sexual encounter. It's like they added more words to try to make this sound as bad as possible. Ardent, LOL, never seen any of my 4F sakes Friday bits on Rumble, have you? I don't hold back at all. Watch Ardent on Rumble. That's why I had to move all my political stuff to Rumble and Bitchute and Odysee. Paramount Network president says they're very confident Kevin Costner will continue at Yellowstone. I guess they're just doing all this drama to stir the pot and get people to watch the show, but... Oh, the headline changed while I was looking at the page. That's crazy. Endeavor nears deal to buy WWE and merge it with the UFC. This is breaking news, everyone, live. This literally just broke. Endeavor nears deal to buy WWE and merge it with the UFC. I don't care about any of those two groups, but many of you do. Ardent, thank you. You're welcome. So, there you go, wrestling fans. Over at Deadline, of course, many of the same headlines. Ardent, LOL, I've been pestering William Shatner to come on the Sultans. Oh, wow, I'll be there if he says yes. That would be fantastic. WWE plus UFC? How? Just same company. Doesn't bode well for the WWE if that's like a merger that needs to happen. Maybe their ratings are slipping, and this is the way they throw the UFC guys in every once in a while in a wrestling match. And I don't know. I don't watch any of that stuff. It's just not my world. Lisa Nishimura's Netflix exit shocks documentary world, massively helped grow this industry. I don't know. I've never been a big fan of the Netflix documentaries. There's just like too many of them, and I've heard like a lot of them aren't particularly accurate. I feel like documentary films aren't what they used to be. Kite, SNL has lost touch. They have been bleeding money for how long? They're on their 500th terribly acted skit. Trump is funny. If you intend to parody something, be funnier than the original. Yeah. But actually, they do make money with SNL because there's nothing else to compete with it in that time slot. So they've always made money. A couple of attempts have been made, but could never dethrone SNL. I mean, if they did it today and somebody did a based skit show, oh, they'd crush it. I mean, if Fox, like Fox News, it would have to be Fox News now because 20th Century Fox is owned by Disney. But like, if Fox News decided to put up a sketch show against Saturday Night Live, I bet they would beat it in the ratings. I think within a year they'd be crushing it in the ratings. Ardent, I love no holds barred UFC, so brutal. I might be a touch violent on occasion. Lawmakers to meet with Bob Iger and Tim Cook on China's trade and business practices. Oh yeah, those are two guys you want to talk to. Let's see. Iger, who made a movie, or Disney made a movie, like down the street from a Uyghur camp, one of the Uyghur camps, and then thanked the Communist Party in that, I think it was the Mulan movie, the live-action Mulan, and Tim Cook, who manufactures half his components, or if not all of them, in China. Yeah, they're the guys to ask. Hey, should we stop doing business with China? Oh, no, they're fine. Unbelievable. Kite. That's why those sports exist at Ardent, so we have an outlet. Ardent, I mentioned earlier if they could get Mel Brooks, Dave Chappelle, and the surviving Python guys to do a sketch show, it would kill. Yeah. Instead, they did History of the World Part 2, and it's like, meh. Ardent Mulan, yeah. So, this is the members of the House Select Committee. So, is Iger so desperate now he's going to Congress to help Disney somehow? Please help me. Please get Ron DeSantis off my back so I can continue to be woke. And make movies like Lightyear and Red. You know, crap. Let's see. Olivier Awards winners. I don't know what these are. 2023 Olivier Awards? Oh, I guess they're an English award. I guess, what are these, like the English Emmys? Kite, yeah, they made Mulan near the camps, and the left praised it and don't care there's WW2 German camps there. Yeah, it's sickening. Art house crowd warms to tough New York drama 1001. His only son sustains faith-based winning streak. Oh, so this is a faith movie? I don't know. It looked good. It didn't have any faith stuff that I saw in the trailer, but looks fine. I mean, it looks like a positive film. It's just not for me. Ardent Focus Facilities? More on Saturday Night Live, of course, because you can't get enough coverage of a sketch show. Gone with the Wind. Oh, here, this I talked about. Gone with the Wind to get trigger warning for hurtful or harmful aspects of 19th century slavery. Because, when you go to watch a movie like Gone with the Wind, you have no idea it takes place during the Civil War. Like, oh my God. You have no idea how the people talked during the Civil War. During slavery? You mean they used these words? They're monsters. Oh, better put a trigger warning for the woke tards who don't understand history. You mean that was a thing in the slave times? They didn't respect pronouns? What kind of people were they? Oh my God. You got to be kidding me. These people won't be happy until everything is censored. That's the way it's going. That's the way it's headed. Censor it all, they'll say. Over in Bounding in the Comics, these guys usually have some good headlines. Avatar: The Last Airbender voice actor Greg Baldwin virtue signals support for Transgender Day of Visibility by lashing out at J.K. Rowling. Kite. At Ardent, I am a homebody. I have dreams of just camping out in the American wilds. Been watching shows of people doing it, but realize I'm so addicted to gaming and tech to realistically do that. Well, you ramp up to it. Don't start like that guy in that movie who goes out to Alaska to live in a bus and dies eating. He ended up dying eating the wrong plant. Start with a campground. Do some like regular camping that's like, some of these campgrounds, they've got like electricity and fire pits and there's a store 2 blocks away. So, slowly ramp up. And then you get better at it and then you do the wilderness stuff. Kite. Well, that and it requires a passport. Oh, yeah. And these days, it still requires a shot to get in here unless you sneak across the border, which I hear is a lot easier. Not that I'm suggesting you commit any crimes. Agatha Christie joins growing list of classic authors whose original works are being rewritten for modern audiences. Ooh, you mean the Civil War had language in it? Ooh, I better watch this Agatha Christie show. Oh God, thank God it's been censored for my safety. These people are too soft. Ardent, I love gaming too, but you can move incrementally. Get a cabin with internet. Or get a cabin right next to the border of America, and then apparently everybody's slipping over the border in Canada. Again, I'm not encouraging you to break any laws. Ardent, yeah, I'm thinking I need to learn some Spanish for ahem reasons. Oh, and I hear it's easier to get across the Canadian border right now. In fact, there was an article I read during the news blast that there are Americans helping people sneak across the border from Canada. I'm not sure why, but it could be that it may be easier to get across the Canadian border since it's less guarded, and the coyotes won't bother you if you take a plane ride to Mexico and then sneak across. I don't know why people. I hear that a lot of people just take a plane ride to the United States and just disappear into the country and never come back. I mean, there's that. So if you can get in, if you got a passport, you just overstay your visa or whatever. That's what a lot of people did. Ardent, wait, what? Yeah, they're sneaking across the border in Canada. I don't know why. I mean, I guess because Canada sucks, but Kite, I'm not saying it's true, YouTube, but a transgender day of invisibility would be way more impactful, gives people a day of peace. Well, look, the entire fiasco, and I would call it a fiasco, of the trans day of blank is not being run properly, which isn't surprising because unlike the gay movement back in, say, the 70s, 80s, they seem to have no leaders of any kind. So it's this weird Marxist groupthink that keeps them doing lots of activities. They're always doing stuff, but they never coalesce into anything because they don't have a representative that would accurately represent them because they're all over the map. You have a handful of people from the LGBTQIA2S plus community, gays against groomers, who are trying to do something, and they're organized in a way that makes sense to people, I think. But you know, the trans movement is just kind of, because there's no barrier to entry. That's part of the problem, right? So you had this power lifter this week. I don't know if you guys heard this story, but I'll tell you. He's a coach, and he's a real male power lifter. And in order to protest the trans women entering into powerlifting against the women, he entered the contest, said, "I'm a woman now," and he crushed all the record. Right? He's a man power lifter, a coach. So he's been doing it his whole life, and he came in and he said, "Well, I'm a woman now." He's got a full beard. He didn't present at all, and he just crushed the record. Absolutely crushed it, just like that episode of South Park. Ardent, I could get on a boat and be in Maine in a couple of days. I really want to leave Trudeau a stand Banana legally. Yeah, you want to try to do that legally, because if you do it illegally, there's always the risk you could be sent back, especially in 2 years when Trump's back. Kite, it's Trans Visibility Day every day? Maybe. Aurelius, I would suspect some of the unseen leaders who call for these events are intelligence agencies running weird operations and experiment. PSYOPs in general. I would totally 100% agree with that. But, you know, anybody can waltz in to a LBGTQI2S plus meeting and just be, "Hey, I'm non-binary, let me in." What are they going to say to you? There's no bar for entry. So, you know, that's the problem. If they had a bar, if they had something like, well, if you're trans, in order to be trans, you have to go through a process where you went to a therapist and you lived as the opposite sex for X amount of years, and You've already gotten your driver's license changed or whatever. Whatever you need to do. Like, there are genuinely trans people who have gender dysphoria and they go through this process and they're fine. But there's a lot of other people who are either using this sort of cloak of being trans as a device to gain power over people, to intimidate people, or just they're so broken in their own lives, they may have other issues that have nothing to do with being trans, that they just want to be able to bully people so they can't be forced to take meds or be forced to do anything. So when you say, hey, you can't do that, they'll just turn around and say, you're a transphobe, get away from me. So, and I think there are more of people using transgender as a cloak than there are actual trans people. And that's the part of the problem. Like, we need a group of seriously transgender people who have a plan to say, okay, we're going to be the gatekeepers of trans now, and we're going to say, here's the things you need to do to at least say you're trans. Now, that wouldn't solve the women in sports thing, but it would at least make a barrier to entry, and it would start to weed out these people who, but it's going to happen already. Sorry, I'm ranting. What's going to happen is people will get so sick of this, they're just going to be done with all of it, and they're just going to say no more. Oh, we want to have drag queen story hour. No, we don't do that anymore. Oh, we want to have a trans day of blah blah blah. No, not interested. People will just say no. They won't say anything else because they know they'll get in trouble. But as the culture turns and people go, oh, you just want to virtue signal and come here and yell at everybody. Even people who genuinely want to say, well, I just want to do a trans day of remembrance or whatever, and not, yell at people. Who will believe them? Look at the behavior of these groups. And since you did almost nothing to stop them, almost never spoke out against any of them, you have to take the blame now for all their behavior. So that's why there needs to be a group to come out and say, no, we represent normal trans people or whatever, and we're against grooming of kids and all this stuff, and Ardent, he pulled a Zuby. He certainly did, but it's a massive one because Zuby, although he broke records too, he wasn't a power lifter, right? I mean, he was in shape. I'm sure he worked out a little bit, but this guy was a serious power lifter. Like, they'll never break his record. And then they had to keep it on the books just because he walked in and said, I identify as a woman. I'm going to compete in your thing now. So all the trans women who competed now, they'll never break his record. Kite. Trans leaders are the people on the Twitter. LGBT people didn't realize until the Hogwarts game fiasco that these Twitter folk spoke for the entire community, and now that has disappeared. Status quo. I don't know. They still have way too much influence. There has to be a bar. So when people on Twitter show up again and start screaming, or where they show up at a protest, there has to be someone that say, wait a minute, do you actually qualify to be trans? Or are you still, a mixed up kid who doesn't know what they want? Or just some weirdo who's just using it to gain access to certain places? Ardent, I identify as unidentifiable, LOL. 3 classes: trenders, predators, trenders/predators, mentally ill, and very few legit cases. That's probably mostly accurate, I would say. I would say there's another class of, trenders/predators. Not all the trenders are predators. A lot of the trenders are just kids who just want acceptance, and they're so desperate for it, they're willing to convince themselves they're trans. And a lot of them are women. Young women who are just confused. They have body issues. They don't think they'll ever get a boyfriend, so they say, oh, I'm trans now. And now I'm special. And now everybody loves me. Kite, personally, as a schizophrenic, I just want these people to get actual help because I recognize, like me, they need it. But wanting them to be able to live without regret, that makes me a phobic bigot. Well, I think what you're going to see in the coming years is you're going to see a lot of these people who got caught up in it, who had surgery, who took hormones. They're all messed up. It's already started. I mean, it started with Matt Walsh's documentary, but there's going to be hundreds of them, and they're going to start a group. They're going to have meetings, and that will be the new group. That'll be the new gigantic group. Yeah, we have to stop this, and then they're going to start making national news, and at first everybody will coming down on them. The media will try to ignore them, and then they'll slowly come back. The detransitioners will be a force in the coming years because there will be so many of them, and they will have terrible, tragic stories. And I've heard some of them already, and they're just horrific. Absolutely horrific. Ardent, I think the trans gatekeepers are about as likely as moderate Muslims. No, there are plenty of moderate Muslims. Ardent, heartbreaking, I mean. Kite, we should let Tony get to his show, though. LOL. Ardent, yeah, the indoctrined belong in the mentally ill for brainwashing. Yeah, I don't got too many more headlines. I got to start wrapping up anyway. Samuel L. Jackson suggests Nick Fury will get the Jake Skywalker treatment in Disney's Secret Invasion series. And he also says that an upcoming Disney Plus Secret Invasion series has a political aspect that kind of fits to where we are now. Doesn't it sound great? I also saw a still from the show. I don't think it was here, but it looked like Samuel L. Jackson and a guy very close together, like with their foreheads touching. And my immediate thought was, oh great, they made Nick Fury gay now too. But I don't know if that's the case. But it looked that way from the still. Their body language told me, are they about to kiss? So, I would love it if they made Nick Fury gay and Samuel L. Jackson ends up kissing a dude. And here's why I would love it. Because that would be just desserts for Samuel L. Jackson. Right? Because he's sort of been dancing on the sidelines of some of the woke stuff. So then he'd be forced to take imagine they force him like, oh, okay, we're going to make Nick Fury gay. You're okay with that, right? And he's just like, I guess I have to be. So I get this giant paycheck. Oh, it would be hilarious. Kite. Oh, how fun. Now I get told off with the copious amounts of MFer. Hooray. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like just done with Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, I always liked him in certain roles, but, after a while, I was just, like, so sick of his shtick. And he was just in everything. And after a while, I was just like, can we not put jewels in everything? Can we just have something else? I mean, he's capable of acting a different character, so. Agatha Christie joins growing list of classic authors. I think we covered that. All right. What's the other thing? Got cosmic book news. Did I even look at these headlines? Dungeons & Dragons box office bombs worse than Shazam. See, he's saying it's a bomb, but I don't think it was that. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. We'll see. I think the key week for any movie is the second week, because it is possible that this movie's so good, word spreads, and more people go see it. So it made 38 million opening. It beat John Wick. So the key is next week. Now, if this thing drops to like under 20 mil, like 17 million, which would be about half, that's not a good sign. That means it's pretty much done. But if this thing manages to hang on above 30 million, that's a good sign. It has legs. That means people are like, hey, this is pretty good. If this thing actually goes up, oh my God. Call Guinness, because that's some sort of record. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 tickets on sale Monday with new spot released. Well, that ain't going to happen to Dungeons & Dragons. That's the end of that. Guardians is going to crush Dungeons & Dragons. So, next week, my prediction, Guardians of the Galaxy, number 1. John Wick, number 2. Dungeons & Dragons, number 3. Possibly number 4 behind Scream, but we'll see. Blue Beetle trailer teaser for Monday release. I don't know. I don't know why they made this movie. The Mandalorian is dropping like a rock. Mandalorian Nielsen ratings drop big, nearly 40%. Yeah, is anybody watching this thing this time around? Kite, I mean, you could consider straight actors being forced into the same sex scenes for scenes through fear of cancellation, more so than the money. A kind of essay. I heard D&D was okay despite the original emasculating of men, but I ain't about to say it. Ardent, prediction for me, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 opens with the worst numbers so far. Really? I don't know. I think people like that movie. I mean, the second one wasn't so great, but the Christmas special was pretty fun, I'll say, with Kevin Bacon. That was pretty fun. I saw the whole thing. I don't know. It's almost summer. That's not Memorial Day weekend, but they're going to pimp the hell out of it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens to it. Man, if this doesn't beat Dungeons and Dragons, I mean, come on. Ardent, haven't seen the Christmas special. It was fun. They had Kevin Bacon's in it. It's a part of the joke. He plays himself. And then Kevin Bacon's brother has a band, and he plays in the band too. So they were in it as an alien band. And they do this song. They're like a group of aliens that try to do a Christmas song, but they don't know what Christmas is. It's pretty funny. And it rocks. It was good. It was good. And then the plot of it is Drax and I can't think of her name, the bug girl, whatever her name is, decide they want to get something for Star-Lord's birthday, and they heard him talk about Kevin Bacon, so they decide to find Kevin Bacon and bring him to Star-Lord as a Christmas gift. And so they basically kidnap Kevin Bacon. And so there's a whole thing where they go to his house, and then he runs away, and they're chasing him, and he's screaming, and it's a whole thing. It's pretty funny. Kite, it'll easily beat D&D. Yeah, I think it has to. Mantis, thank you, Ardent. I think it has to be. Oops. I think it has to beat D&D. Absolutely. First off, I think it'll beat D&D this week. I think it'll make more than 38 million. I think it'll probably do easily 50 million. Maybe 100 million. Possibly. I mean, what did Ant-Man do the first week? I mean, if Ant-Man can make 100 million. Yeah, Ant-Man did 100 million the first week. So, I think Guardians could definitely do 100 million. Ardent, LOL, okay, I'll check it out. It's not bad. I mean, if you have Disney Plus already, I wouldn't buy Disney Plus for it, but my friend had Disney Plus, so I watched it at his house. I wouldn't pay for Disney Plus. But, Kite, I mean, we consider they lose money on these films, but it is lost money if you potentially subliminally change the minds of the middle. I don't know if they've lost money on these movies. I really don't. I mean, the only people not going to these movies now are the anti-woke, and even they go for a named series they know and like. I was all set to go see Ant-Man. Ardent, nah, won't be paying for it. I mean, now the fatigue has set in. I mean, you had one bad one with Thor. If Ant-Man had come roaring back, that could be ignored. But now it can't be ignored. You've had basically 2 failures. At least from an optics standpoint. The finances almost don't matter. It's the optics. So now the culture is turning against the Marvel movies. It's like, oh, I heard about Marvel fatigue. I read a story about Marvel fatigue. Yeah, I'm kind of getting sick of it. That's what's going to happen. You're going to have conversations like that. And once that starts happening, it's really hard to turn it around. back in the day when Star Wars was huge, everybody started making Star Wars movies. There were space movies all over the place, but most of them sucked. In fact, all of them sucked. I don't even think I can name a really good one other than Star Wars. Maybe, I don't know, maybe The Last Starfighter, I guess. A handful of others. But, yeah, I mean, it just, Hollywood copies things to death. And now you got movies coming out like Knights of the Zodiac. And so a bunch of movies came out of India. They got a bunch of characters with superpowers. They're all like the Marvel Universe, and they're all franchised, and they're all basically the same. So, Ardent, space truckers, yeah, I guess that was kind of another knock in that crowd. Kite, I mean, they will drag people back during the next Avengers film for sure, and if that isn't even moderately okay, people will get invested again, and they know it. I don't know. I don't know if they'll even do another Avengers movie, because who are you going to show up for? First, Captain Marvel, done. The Marvels is looking to be a complete and utter disgrace. And that's saying something, considering where it started as the worst Marvel film just about before Endgame. I mean, not that Endgame was bad, but like the worst one out of all the Marvel's films, all the way up till, what was that, the end of Phase 3? I guess you could easily say that Captain Marvel was the worst one. Like, I don't know, Thor 2 I hear is awful. I still haven't seen that one. I like Thor 3. I thought that one was good. The rest of them are all pretty solid. It's Captain Marvel that people kind of go, I only saw it because it led into Endgame. And now they've delayed this movie at least twice, all the way back into November. They're reshooting like crazy. They've added 2 characters, so it's not even really about Captain Marvel. It's a dumb plot. Ugh, the plot of the Marvels is terrible. So this is the character you're going to have a lead into the Avengers movie? I don't think you can. Ardent, yeah, they should have quit at Phase 3. Thor 2 is better than Captain Marvel. Hold on, I'm blowing up. I'm going to have to wrap soon. So, you got Captain Marvel. Next, you've got Falcon, Captain America. He's okay, but nobody's gonna come to the movies just to see him. So that's 2. They're doing Thunderbolts. So all those side characters are gone. Kite. The name itself will drag people, sadly. People kept seeing films between the last Avengers, even though they were all essentially the same movie with different characters. Yeah. But, sorry, I'm blowing up. I'll have to call him back. That's true, but here's the thing. Part of the reason people saw Avengers is because they were seeing all the side movies, right? They were seeing, and then Spider-Man was in the mix, and that was amazing. Amazing cameo. Everybody loves Spider-Man. I mean, you have all these big names. And Robert Downey Jr., you knew that the Avenger movie would have him in it. And he was just great. He's not going to be in it. His character's dead. Unless they make a big announcement, oh, Downey's coming back, which is probably what they're going to try to do. Who do they got? Well, they want to try to reintroduce They want to try to introduce Ironheart, a character no one cares about. Now, they might be able to make it work with Don Cheadle as Rhodey. They're going to do a movie with him. Maybe. But, again, he's an also-ran. This is like 1980s Marvel Comics, Avengers comics. The lineup was War Machine, Hercules, Tigra, Black Knight, like 1 or 2 others. I can't remember. Like, all characters you didn't want to see. You wanted to see Captain America, the Hulk, Thor, all the big names. It's all you want to see in the Avengers. It's all you wanted to see in the comics. Like, you could, in the comics, it's a little different. You can play fast and loose. There are hundreds of issues. Yeah, for 10 issues, we can have Hercules taking the place of Thor or the Hulk or whoever. Once in a while, you can mix it up, sure. But this isn't comics. These characters don't hold that weight. They just don't. Ardent. SE Yellow Vision. Exactly. Nobody cares about the Vision. Even when the Vision was big, like, nobody really cared about the Vision. So, yeah, you could throw him in. No thanks. It's just not going to bring people into a movie. Wonder Man, they're trying to do Wonder Man as a movie. They've already race swapped him. He doesn't look anything like Wonder Man. And really, you needed a muscle guy. Like, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson would have been perfect for Wonder Man. Absolutely perfect, but what are you going to do? So, who do you got? Who do you got in the lineup? There's nobody, anything. They're going to throw Namor in the mix. Namor, or whatever character. They don't really own the rights to him. They don't really own the rights to the Hulk, so they can't throw the Hulk in. The next Avengers movie won't have one recognizable character for the normies. They'll just go, who are these characters? Oh, they're all on Disney Plus. I don't have Disney Plus. I just watch Avengers movies. And none of these maybe Moon Knight, if you threw Moon Knight in, but that character, I don't think that character can work in the Avengers as they have him now. It's barely in his own show. I'll tell you exactly what they want to do for the Avengers movie. They want to do all female Avengers. Captain America, She-Hulk, the chick that took over for Hawkeye, the second string Black Widow, and I don't know, whoever else they got. They're going to throw them all in. Oh, and they'll bring back Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda. Maybe she'll be the villain. Maybe she'll be on the team. Another stupid move they made. They're going to make an all-female Avengers. Maybe Gwyneth Paltrow, because she was in the mix. She had superpowers. Yeah, they'll do it. I think they'll do it. Or they'll try to. They'll try to develop it. Or Bob Iger's just going to pull out of superheroes altogether. He's just going to go, there's no more money here. And he'll just pull the whole plug on it. And then they'll do some other kind of woke movies. They're looking at an X-Files reboot. A diverse reboot. I forget who owns that. I think Warner Brothers. Kite. Yeah, I think they used way too much main known Marvel characters. Had they spread them between phases, then maybe they'd still have traction. But these are propaganda, and they'll ruin fan faves anyway. Ardent, Wong, yeah. They could throw in Wong, I guess, but who cares? Who cares about any of these characters? Maybe they could throw in Doctor Strange, but I think he's on his way out. I mean, his movie kind of failed. That was another failure. I mean, again, may not have been a monetary failure, but it was a failure because what they wanted to do was launch American Chavez. What they want is American Chavez, Ironheart, She-Hulk, and Captain Marvel. That's what they want. They want that to be your core Avengers, and they think everybody should show up to the movie theaters to see that ball of crap. No, it ain't happening. It just ain't happening. Ardent, they're going to have to jam the X-Men in as much as possible. Oh, then there's the reboot of that. And you heard what they were saying about that. The woman they just fired, Alonzo, I think her last name is, she doesn't like the term X-Men, wants to change the term to the Mutants or something. Ardent, the Horvengers. Wanted to change the name to the Mutants or whatever because, X-Men was too patriarchal. I mean, talk about just shooting yourself in the foot, and even Disney wouldn't do that. Even Disney had to say, we're not changing the name of the damn IP that is known worldwide. We're not doing that. And then she had to be fired because I think she wouldn't go along with it. It was part of it, and part of the other thing she wouldn't go along with it. She is woke as woke as woke. Iger, I don't know if he's actually woke or he's just playing this game for ESG points, but Ardent, sorry, you mentioned She-Hulk and I can't help myself. Ardent, X People sounds like a trans thing? They have a trans team of superheroes at Marvel. It was in a comic book. I forget what they're called. Look it up. During I guess it was last year during Pride Week, they launched it. And I swear to you, one of the characters is, what's her name? Her name's like Sad Girl. And she just makes you sad. I mean, it's the most ridiculous team of superheroes. It's like late stage woke Marvel is what it is. Look it up. It's freaking, it'll give you a laugh. It's worse than the new Warriors. Kite, the mutants, LOL, I bet there was, how dare you be ableist pushback. Oh yeah, sure. And then you had, in the Spider-Verse, they introduced the disabled Spider-Man. You know, Spider-Man flying around on crutches. So this is where they're trying to go with this. Now, obviously, Iger's got some pushback, but he may just say, you know what, it's time to get out of superheroes. We're losing money. It's too expensive to do anyway. Let's cut back, do regular movies, and we'll make them woke too. He'll still make them woke, but he'll just be more subtle about it. He'll do what The Whale did. He'll say, oh, we're making a movie about this fat guy who can't lose weight. And then you'll go to the movie theaters and then, oh, well, the plot is he's gay and that's why he's fat. Oh, okay. Yeah, you won't hear a mention of the woke stuff in the advertising. That could kind of work. It depends on the movie. Like for The Whale, I don't think that's so much of a bait and switch. Although it kind of turned me off from seeing a damn thing. Because I think it would be a more interesting movie if he just had a problem. Like, if it wasn't so specific that he was eating himself to death, but... Ardent. But wait, it gets worse. Yeah, exactly. So, but if they do go back to regular movies, they will tend to go back to the regular formula for movies. So the regular formula for a movie would be, they have a plot. So, there's a new movie coming out called Snag. This is a regular movie. Because what it's about is a guy, and it's an action comedy. He is a young guy, young surfer. He falls in love with a girl. He meets in a bar fight. And it turns out she's like the daughter of a cartel queen. And now everybody's trying to kill him. And he's trying to escape with her. And so it's about him trying to win the love of his life. And all this crazy stuff happens. It looks great, by the way. They'll just do that, except it'll be two girls. Or whatever, right? Or they'll do it and it'll be two guys, or they'll do that and it'll be a guy and a girl, but they'll be diverse. And they'll just try to sneak in the woke where they can. And eventually, audiences will just not go see that. Eventually what'll happen is they'll make a decent movie and there'll be one diverse character in it, right? Let's say, you know, it's a romantic comedy and you've got a male and female lead, but there's a gay character or a trans character as their, like, I don't know, the guy who drives the car or whatever, right? And he has a funny line, or the trans person has a funny line, and so they put that in the trailer. And what'll happen is, because the culture will have changed, because people will now be cool and be anti-woke, because they will, from watching YouTube videos like this, be so sensitive to like, oh crap, is this woke? They'll see that, and rather than drill any further, they'll say, oh, that must be woke. F that movie, I'm not going to go see it. And they cross it off their list and they go see something else. That's what'll start happening. And so you'll have a good movie that should have made money, and it'll be on track to make $50 million, and then it'll just tank. And then Disney will go back, or whoever will go back and say, oh crap, we have to stop doing this stuff. We just shot ourselves in the foot, and here's the evidence. It has to be an example that's so egregious that they know for a fact that's what turned people off. But they still release it anyway. Like, you know, they do focus groups all the time, but for some of the movies, they might not do focus groups, some of the smaller ones. So once they finally get the message, like, oh crap, every time you mention this diversity inclusion bullshit, we lose money. Oh, let's not do that anymore. You mean not mention it? Oh no, we tried that and they figured it out. We can't do it at all now. And then you'll see everything change. Now all those diverse people who are getting hired now for no other reason other than they're diverse, oh, suddenly their phone stops ringing. Because then the trend goes the other way. Then the trend is, no, we're looking for traditional people. Sorry, you know. And when they complain and say, but wait a minute, you don't have representation anymore. Oh, you know what? That's so 2023. Besides, we have plenty of representation in our old movies. You can go watch them. Yeah, but these are new movies. And they'll just stop. And when they say, well, I'll complain to the media. Oh, well, they control the media too. Because these are the same companies making the movies. And then they'll go to their media guys and say, yeah, you know all that trans and diversity stuff you guys keep covering? Yeah, we're covering it tonight. Yeah, don't cover it. And then it'll disappear from the airwaves. It'll be like it never was on TV. You won't be able to get arrested. You think I'm kidding? They've done this before. They've done this before to other movements. It just evaporates. Remember Occupy Wall Street? Go back in time and try to find some clips of those people protesting. You could find them on local news in New York. And a handful of times you could find them nationally, but a lot of times you couldn't find them at all. Now, there'll be some woke pockets of resistance in the media that'll still keep covering it, but it won't be enough. It won't be like it was before, like instant coverage if you're woke and diverse or whatever. Suddenly it'll be like, oh no, that's old hat. Yeah, we don't cover that anymore. That's old stuff. Oh, here's a guy who's found Jesus and he's making a movie. Oh yeah, that's hot. Let's get an interview with him. Let's get him all over the news because this sells and our ratings go through the roof every time we cover one of these guys. In fact, this guy got beaten up by some Antifa guys. Oh, that's huge ratings. Let's go cover him. That's what's going to happen. And it's all going to turn. And then Disney and all these studios will get the message. Ooh, we got to make money. It doesn't matter that they don't care about it. It's they want to make money. And that's eventually what's going to happen. Kite, The Mutants, LOL. I bet there was How Dare You Be Able to pushback. I read that one already. Ardent, 2 neuters and a non-binary walk into a bar. It's all just a joke. Oh, I can't wait for the day when the Uber Alpha Muscle Chad comes back. Yeah, it'll probably start with family movies. Again, it'll be Disney trying to win everybody back. Or they'll just go down the tubes. I mean, how many diverse people can you jam into the Disney parks? I mean, there's just not that many of them. Families used to go to Disney. Now families avoid Disney. A good deal of them. Ardent, I really need to work on my idea for spiritual movie where the hero's a badass priest. Yep. Yeah, I had a character like that in Jersey Devil. And that's fun. It's a fun, cool thing. And there's been characters like that before. And they're all going to come roaring back as soon as they start making money. And, superheroes, they'll be done. No comics. We don't do comics anymore. No, that's all done. It'll be the next thing. And the next thing's probably the trad thing. Possibly religious. Because they are starting to make money. But what has to happen is one of these movies has to break out and be like an insane hit. Mel Gibson's working on a sequel to Passion of the Christ. That's probably going to be a monster hit. At least for a religious movie. I mean, Passion of the Christ, I think, did pretty well. Let's take a look at it. Okay. Yeah. 370 billion box office. That's nothing. That's not too shabby. That's more than effing Ant-Man. 622 million worldwide. And this is in 2004. This is 20 years ago. This is a lot more people in the seats. This is a cheaper ticket prices. That's a $500 million. There's more than $500 million. Ardent trad religious westerns, I suspect. Passion of the Christ 2, Jesus is back and he's pissed. That's basically what it is. It's the resurrection. It's probably going to be called the resurrection of the Christ or something like that. There's a new, what's his name? Russell Crowe movie where he's playing a priest fighting demons, and there's all kinds of crazy effects in it. And it looks like a big budget. It's like a big budget horror / actioner movie with Russell Crowe. So these guys can see the wheel turning. They're starting to reposition themselves. So they're going to do more movies like this, more movies that are trad. It's just going to take the next big hit. Now, whether that's some breakout movie that's a rom-com or a religious movie or whatever, it doesn't matter. What'll matter is all the comic books are all going away. They're going to abandon them. I don't think Disney is going to turn back on any of the Disney shows they just put on hiatus. That's code for we're probably not going to make this. Ardent trilogy finale, The Beatification of the Christ. AMD, yeah, The Pope's Exorcist looks interesting. That's the movie, yeah. And when you get to the point where there are no more superheroes, I mean, X-Files was big, right? And they started doing all these conspiracy movies. And I was pitching scripts during that time, and that's all they wanted. We need a conspiracy movie. Conspiracy movie. We need a thriller. It was conspiracy movies and thrillers. That's all anybody in Hollywood wanted to see for a while. Do they want to see superheroes? Superheroes are done. It's just a matter of time. If Disney pulls the plug on all these projects, they're trying to figure out what to rebrand to probably right now. What can we rebrand to that's cheap, that people will watch? I don't think they have an answer. But it might be young adult high school shows with supernatural elements like Wednesday. Because they already made successful ones. There's a franchise of movies, I think it's on Disney Plus, called like Zombies or Zombie High School or whatever. And the first movie was about a high school with like half humans and half zombies. And then I think the second movie added like vampires, and then the third movie added werewolves, and the fourth movie added aliens. And it's all in a high school. It's musical. It looks horrifically terrible. But they've made 4 movies of it. They're going to buy some stupid book about that kind of thing, and they're going to turn it into a movie, or something close enough that they could turn it into a movie. They're probably not going to do it with a comic, because they'll say, comics. Nah, we got out of that. You got something that's like a book. And when they get into the trad stuff, hopefully that's when I strike. And the Pineys get in as like, oh, this is about 2A. It's about a bunch of crazy characters that are gun-wielding hunters. And but that's a little further down the road, the trad tree, I would say. First, it's just going to be go back to traditional stuff. Then it's going to be, well, how traditional can we get? Okay, we'll do some religious movies. Well, maybe not everybody wants a religious movie because you can't get the foreign market with a lot of the religious movies, but some of it. So how can we get a trad movie that would appeal to the international market? Well, you still got to do action, horror, or TNA. And Pineys is action and horror and comedy, but Ardent, if they did an interdimensional alien movie instead of extraterrestrial, they might manage to get some attention. I don't know. They did that in Fringe, and that was a really good show, but they eventually canceled it. So, anyhow, that's the way movies are headed. Oh my gosh, we are heading up on the third hour. So I'm gonna end it here. But it was a great stream. Thanks everybody for tuning in. So let's get our final thoughts. Ardent TNA, yes, that's my webcomic on the Webcomic Factory at thewebcomicfactory.com, because everybody needs a little TNA. Don't forget Superfrat at superfrat.com, and don't forget the Pineys, books 1 through 11, available at amazon.com. Where's my link? I don't even know where my link is. Oh, here it is. Kite, with the attacks on Christianity, can we really expect the Passion of the Christ 2 to not change the Mary Magdalene to identify as a man in a relationship with a Jesus, making him gay? LOL. Have a great night. Yes, don't worry. Mel Gibson's pretty trad. Ardent. Later, Tony. See you next week. See you then. Aurelius, see you around. Thanks for stopping in, guys. It was a lot of fun. And I will go unpunish Joan and let her roam around the house now. All right. Good night, everybody.